So you can see I have already deployed the project that I'm going to show you how to create basically. So let's see what we have in this website. We have home page, we have register page, we have login page, we have different menu options as you can see here. So let's say this is the upper nav we have here, and also you can see the icon that we have here. And in the lower nav we have Anisul Express. This is the title of this page, you can say, or you can say this is the brand of this page. And then we have the option for card. And here I can see there is a banner, and in the banner we have 3 different options. Now I can move this one and probably you can see better. Right, and then you can see the categories section. We have different type of categories. You can select categories, but it's not going to work because basically we're going to design with HTML and CSS. So definitely this website is not functional because we're not using any JavaScript. Now this is very important because if you cannot design something, then of course functioning is not going to work like in a real life, because people love to see beautiful design. And definitely under the hood then you're going to use JavaScript. Now JavaScript is out of context for this project because we are just focusing on designing. And then we have price range. We are using some radio button as you can see here. Then we have shopping options, and on the right hand side you can see we can use this option menu here for sorting. We can select items and then we can search definitely. And here we have beautiful card for the product, and you can see product name, then different colors for the product. Maybe you can choose different type of product based on the color. Then we have the description here and learn more option. Then we can see the price is here, rating is here, and then you can add to the cart. And here we have beautiful badge. So that's all for this homepage. We have also pagination here, and in the footer section you can see whatever we have here. Basically I'm using input field, that's all, nothing more than that. Now let's move on to different pages so that we can see what we have on those pages. Now you can click on card, then you can move to the card page, but before even doing that I will go to the register page and I will show you what we have in the register page. You can see it's very simple form, and we are going to take some input and then we can submit the data and we can send the data to the email address. Then we have the login page. It's kind of same, so whatever you have seen in the register page, basically we're going to use that idea or that card. So this card design is basically reusable for all the pages. So you have seen in the product page or home page we are using this card, and in the register page we are using this same design for the card. So the same design will be applied in all places. Then if someone click on logout, it will bring the person to this home page. Then let's see what we have in the contact page. Of course you can see it's like divided into 2 parts. On the left side we have this card where we are basically using some input fields to take user value, and then we can send the data to the email address. So basically when the user will send their data, it will come to my email address. And then I have the address section here, and then definitely the map. That's all for this contact page. Now if I click on this icon, then it's going to take me to the profile page, and here you can see my profile. So user profile here, and definitely some buttons, but they are not going to work definitely. And then let's go to the card page. Let's see what we have there. So you can see a beautiful card page here. On the left hand side we have the product. We can select the product and maybe we can delete the product if we wish, and for deleting all the product we can use this one, but nothing is going to work. As I said, it's not functional. We are just focusing on design. But when you use React or JavaScript, you can make it functional. There is no problem whatsoever. And then we have a payment summary on this section right hand side, and there are some payment methods. I'm using some icons, that's all. Now let me go back to the home page, and one more thing I would like to show you here. So this is the card, and there's some information about this product, but if someone is interested and wants to see more about this product, then they can click here. So basically it will take to a page where I am showing the product details. So let me click the page and you will see the product details page. Now this is everything static here, so we are just focusing on designing. That's all I want to say every time. So you can see this is divided into 2 sections. On the left hand side we have this beautiful image, on the right hand side we have some text and colors and other stuff. Now from here we have 2 buttons, add to cart and back to shopping. Basically, they are not going to do anything, but that's for designing purpose. At first, I will start with creating a folder which is going to hold all of our project related codes. So here I'm going to create a folder. You can create anywhere you wish. I'm going to name it e-commerce 2023 maybe, or just 23, doesn't matter. And this is the folder that I'm going to open in my VS Code, because I'm going to use a VS Code as my code editor. Of course, if you are following me, you already know that I'm using VS Code for a long time. So here is my VS Code. I have opened it, and I'm going to drag this folder to the VS Code so that it can open the folder. You can see the folder is here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you so that you can see things well. Right, so first of all, we are going to make some setup so that we can go with this project very smoothly. So I'm going to create index.html file at first, because this is the file where we're going to start creating our basic structure of this page. So this is the basic structure of HTML. I have created it. I'm going to change the title here. Let's say e-commerce, that's all. E-commerce project. Right, and now here for testing purpose, I'm going to say Anisul Express for just now, and later on we're going to change this definitely. So that, let's see, if I run this, if everything goes okay, then I will be able to see Anisul Express as an output. So here you can see the output. Basically it's running well, there is no problem. Now we can make some other setup for this project, and definitely those setup are going to be very easy for you if you're following me for a long time, or maybe you have idea about HTML and CSS. Now next file that I'm going to create is for the CSS. So here is going to be style.css file. Now I need to make a connection between my HTML file and CSS file. So how can I do it? That's very simple. You have to use the link tag for connecting your CSS file. And now you can see I have used a link, and then relationship is style sheet, and then we have this href style.css. So everything is done. Now how do I know the CSS is connected? It's very easy. I'll write down something here so that I know that CSS is connected. So let me say body, and then let me give a background color black, and immediately I can see my background body color has been changed for the web page. So which means CSS is connected. Now we can start creating some reset code and common code for this project. So let me write a comment here, reset code, and common code starts here. So commenting is very essential so that you can identify which codes are related what. So that sort of things you can do. Now I'm going to say reset and common codes ends here, and in this comment I'm going to write all the reset and common codes here. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the universal selector, and here I'm going to use box sizing border box. So these are something common, definitely you must know about this. And then what I'm going to say margin here 0, padding 0. These are like very basic setup for every single project that I create. And then I will say text decoration none. So I want to make sure there is no underline when I create any link. And for list style type, I will say none as well. So I do not want any like default those circle or this type of symbol next to the list when I create list. So that's why I'm saying it's none from very beginning. And then I can use outline none definitely. So that's all. Let's see whether the reset code is starting or working. Of course it's working, as you can see here. And then what else we can do, we can use HTML tag here, and we can select the HTML tag, and we can say scrolling behavior should be smooth. So when I will scroll my web page, it should be smooth. That's what I'm trying to say here with this CSS property and value. And then for image, I want to make sure the image is responsive. So maybe I can say here width will be 100%, doesn't matter, whatever the image is. And then height should be auto. So that's what I want to make sure here from very early. And then what I can do also, I can set up some let's say primary color or secondary color padding, those sort of things here, so that it will help me during this project. So here I'm going to define some CSS variable that will be useful for this project. Now definitely you know how to use create CSS variable. So let's say I'm going to name it primary color. You can name anything, it's totally up to you, but remember to start with this double hyphen. And here I'm going to say, let's say RGB, and then I will give a color 11, and for red 11, for green 181, and for black it's going to be 48. So that's the value I'm going to use. It's going to be primary color of this web page. And then I can name another variable, CSS variable. It's going to be secondary color, and this time I will use RGBA. So I want to make some adjustment with the opacity, and the last value will be 0.9. Now definitely the value will be changed. For red I'm going to say 36, and for green I'm going to say 122, and for blue, actually that was red, green, blue, I guess, not black, so I will say 55 here. That's all. So I have two variables, and I want to create more variables. So let's say for padding it's going to be 0.5 rem. Why I'm creating this variable? So that in the entire page my padding is consistent, my primary color is consistent. So that's why I'm defining the value in one place. When I'll be use this padding everywhere, it means everywhere it will be 0.5 rem. So I want to be consistent. And let's say if I have to change the padding later on, I can come just I just can come here and change the value, and this change will be applied everywhere. So that's why it makes sense to define the variables here. And then I will say transition. This is something we are going to use later on, and here I will say all 0.3 seconds. And then definitely I'm going to use border radius, so there will be a variable for border radius here, and it's going to be 0.6 rem. And last one is going to be here for box shadow. So I'm creating one more variable for box shadow, and it's going to be for x-axis 0.1 rem, 0.1 rem for y-axis. Actually I will use 0.2 for this one, and 0.8 rem for blur. And then at the end I'm going to use a color which is going to be 205 for red, and 202 for green, 202 for blue, and then at the end 0.5 for the opacity. So I have defined everything that I need at this stage for starting this project. Now definitely you have seen this in the project, we are using some icons, so we need the setup for icons as well. And I'm going to use Font Awesome icon, so I need that Font Awesome CDN in order to use Font Awesome icon. So let's search for Font Awesome CDN. You can see this website cdnjs.com. I can go there and just grab the CDN that I need. I can copy this link tag here. When it is copied, I can come back and I can paste it anywhere. I'll make sure that I'm pasting it before my custom CSS. So I'm going to add the link here. That's all. So this is for the Font Awesome. So I can just give a comment here, Font Awesome CDN. That's all. And basically we are done for now. Bootstrap this project, we can start thinking about designing the web page. First of all, we are going to start with this Navbar. You can see this beautiful Navbar is divided into two parts. First part you can think about nav upper, and the second one we can consider as nav lower. In the first part we have different menu options, and we can click and go to those pages. And in the next one, as you can see, this is the brand name, and then we have this card option where we can click and visit the card page. Now what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to use HTML to create this basic structure for this Navbar, and then we can use CSS for designing. But one thing I would like to tell you, like for all these pages, I have made sure they're responsive for different screen sizes. So when I make it small, you can see it's already, there is an icon for us. And if I click this icon, then you can see the menu option. So I have made sure like everything in this web page is responsive, and they're working exactly the way I wanted based on different screen size. So no matter whether you are using mobile phone or tab or computer, it is responsive. So this is another important thing you must take into account when you're designing web pages. Now let's start creating the Navbar. As we said, we're going to start with HTML. So here I'm going to move everything that I had, and then I'm going to say nav starts here. I'm going to make a comment, and I'm going to put all those codes about Navbar inside these comments. So nav starts here, and then I will say nav ends here. That's all. But one thing I would like to tell you, like you have seen, there is an icon when the screen size is small or medium. So this is something we'll do later. For now, we're just focusing without icon, actually for the large screen size. So here I can create the nab tag. I can use the nab tag, and then here I will say for the first one, which is the nab upper, I'm going to assign a class for the nab upper. So let's say nab upper now. All right, and then for the nab lower I'm going to work later, but let's just focus on nab upper first of all. Here I'm going to use some list. Inside a list we'll have some link, but for list I would like to give a class. Let's say it's going to be nab list. So this is the class for list, and inside the list, as we discussed, we are going to have a link, and that link will have a class called nab link. That's all. And here I'm going to say right now the first one is going to be home, so it will show home there as an option. And if I show you the output, then you will see home is here. That's all. And now I'm going to like use the href where I want to go. So I will say here index.html. So this is the page I want to visit when someone click this home option. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste the same thing over and over so that I can like just change the value of like this link tag, and that should be it for us. So the next one is going to be register, and then next one is going to be login. There you go. But of course the page name will be different this time. So when someone click the register, they should go register.html. And for this reason, for now, let's say I am going to say register.html here, and then let's say login.html. Definitely this is something we'll take care later on, but right now I'm just creating the pages, that's all. Then I will have product.html, and then let's say I will have profile.html. So these are few things I can do right now, just create the pages, that's all. And then let's say I will have card.html. So I will need card page, index.html page, and then definitely I need contact.html page. So I will create that one as well. So I think I have everything that I need. Now let me go and finish the process that I started. I will close everything except this one. So close others, and I'm here. Now I can say for this one it's going to be register.html. So let me do that, and there you go. And for this one I will say login.html. I'm done, and then I can copy paste few more times. I think I'll need to do it few more times. After login I will say logout, and then of course when someone will click the logout, I want to bring that person to the home page. So I can say something, let's say index.html. That's what I can say here. And for the next one is going to be contact actually. So I will say contact here. And for this time I will go to like contact.html, and it's not login.html definitely. So I'm using contact.html. Now for the last option, as you have seen, it's going to be something like an icon. So I need a link, and then inside the link it's going to be image tag. So let me copy paste one more time. But of course this time we're not going to put any text. Instead of this text we're going to use an image, and I'm going to select an image here. So the source is right now we don't have an image. Definitely I'm going to bring image later on. For now let's say alternative is profile, and then I will say here class name is going to be profile icon. So this is the class I'm going to use later on, just to just to style this image as the way I want. That's the purpose of this class here. And now basically I'm done, but as I said I need images. So what I can do, I have like all the images in other project. I can just copy paste and bring that images here, all those images here. And now here I have all the images from the others project that I had already created, and I'm going to use that image here. So I will go to the images folder first, and from the images folder I will select profile.1. So let me select that image I have, and it's going to be profile1.png. Now let's check the output that we have. We have all of our links and also the images, but do not worry about the designing. It's not something we have already started. Now let's go to the next one, which is nab lower, and let me create the basic structure for the nab lower. I can actually copy paste few things, so let me do this. I will copy this stuff, and then after this unordered list I'm going to create the nab lower, and here I'm going to paste the nab lower. And definitely I have copied a few things. As you have seen, I need the another list. I need to end it here. That's all. Now we have this another list. This time we're going to call as Navbar. So let me do this real quick. And then we have the list. Inside the list we have the link just like before, but this time I'm going to add a different class name here with this nab link. So it's going to be nab brand. So I need to add some different style for this link, and that's why I'm adding this extra class here called Navbar. And this time I'm going to say here Anisul Express based on my name. You can add anything, whatever you want. And that's all. The first link is done, but we need one more for this card option. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy and paste, and this time definitely there will be few changes. So for the card, when someone will click, it needs to go to card.html. So that's why I am going to use this one. I'm going to remove this nab brand. This is not necessary for this one. And here I'm going to use some icon, as you can see, and then some text. So let me bring some icon here. So I'm going to remove this Anisul Express, and here I'm going to use an icon. I'm going to use that icon inside a span tag, and here I'm going to add the icon. The icon I want to use, it's called FA card. So FA, then card shopping. This is the one I actually want. So let me use the FA card shopping here. All right, but definitely it wasn't like this. I wanted the I dot and then FS solid. The class name should be FS solid. So let me do it the proper way, and then it should be FA card shopping. So that's all, and I am done. So this should make sure that the icon that I'm looking for, it should be available to my web page, and I can see it's already there. It's in the bottom. But let me just figure out a few more things. I need the text next to the icon. So after the icon, I can put some text here inside this span tag. So I'm going to say card 2 products for an instance, and then the price of these 2 products total, so 124, and then maybe 40. These are some static value, and this should make sure that we have everything here for the Navbar. So we have created the basic structure for nab upper and nab lower. Now it's time for designing them, and so that they should look like something beautiful like this. Right, in order to style the Navbar, we have to go to the style.css definitely, and we can start from here. I'm going to design, let's say I'm going to put a comment here, not design Navbar starts here, and then I will say Navbar ends here, so that I know all the Navbar related codes are here inside these comments. All right, so first of all, I'm going to select the nab that I want to design, and here I'm going to say the font family. So I want the font family as a fantasy. This is the one I'm going to use. You can use whatever you like, and then I will define the font size here. It's going to be 1.2 rem, and then I want to make the nab sticky so that it will always stay here. You can see this demo one, whenever I'm scrolling, the Navbar is always here. So that's what I want to do for this one. So let me do it real quick. I think what I'm going to do here, first of all, I'm going to say position, and then I will say sticky. That's the one we want to use. And then I will say from the top it's going to be 0, and then from the left it's going to be 0 as well. And for Z index I will use 100, and the reason of using this Z index is very easy to explain. I will say when I'm scrolling, you can see all the items, they are actually behind this Navbar. Now by default, all the item or everything that you see here, they have Z index 0. So that's why I wanted to make the Z index for this Navbar higher, so that they always stay, backside of this Navbar. That's the purpose. Now I'm done here. Now I'm going to select the nab upper. So let me select the nab upper and give it some background color so that we can see our Navbar very well. And for this purpose, I will go to this one, and I will put the codes, and I will try to see what output change here. So let me do it real quick. Here I'm going to set the minimum height of this Navbar is going to be 10 vertical height. That's what I want. And then I want to change the background color. As I said, the color I'm going to use is from our CSS variable at the top that we have defined. You can see the primary color. That's what I'm going to use. So it's going to be primary color. and that should change our like output. As you can see, it's already changing. Now let's select the padding. Let's give some padding here. So I'm going to give some padding, and this time I will choose a different level of padding for this one. Maybe I can use, let's say, the padding that we have already defined at the top. So this is the one I'm going to use. Now you can see the padding is already working. And then what else we can do? We can select the nab list, which is basically the unordered list. So I'm going to select the nab list here, and then I'm going to use the transition here, and then I will say var, and then we'll select the variable that we already declared, which is the transition one. Now when I selected this nab list, I want to make sure I'm actually selecting the list, not this unordered list, because when I will hover over, when I hover, you can see there is an effect here. So that's what we probably were going to do later. But for now, I want to make sure the transition, when it's changing the effect, it should be smooth. And that's why I have used these things here with the list. I wanted to make sure the transition is going to be smooth. And here I can add the transition. So I will add the hover property. So when will someone like hover this list, every list that we have, what we want to do, we want to make sure here. So we are going to change their color into black. So the text color needs to be black, and then the text decoration is something I want to use so that you can see that oval line. That's all. So now let me show you what it's going to do here for us, and you can see it's working already. But now you cannot see the text color is changing because I haven't taken care of the nab link color. So let me select the nab link first, and then you'll see the effect well. So I need to select the nab, and nab link is the class name that we have used for all the links. So here I'm going to say the color is going to be white, and basically then I'm going to add some transition property here as well. So transition var, and then I'm going to use the transition variable that we have declared at the top. And now you can see they're going to work. But by the way, I think it will make sense if I add some hover effect here with this nab link, because I want to change the color of the text basically. And here I'm going to say it's going to be black, and that's all. I do not need to use transition here, definitely. Right, so the previous one was for list. I think I could like avoid this one here. I do not need that one. So exactly, you can see they are working the way I expected. So the transition is very smooth here. But now let's focus on the way I wanted. They should be center of this page, and definitely they should be horizontally, not vertically, the way right now. So how can I do it? Definitely it's going to be very easy if you understand about the flex things. But before even moving to that, I want to take care of this profile icon, because the icon is now too much big. So I want to give it a better look. So let's select this profile icon that we have used in our icon. So I think I can go there and I can show you. Here it should be somewhere here, as you can see, the class name profile icon for this image, and that's why I'm using that class here. And I'm going to give some width, 3 rem. I want to make it small, and then I will select the height as well. It's going to be 3 rem, and then I'm going to say border radius. But before even doing that, I'm going to save it, and I want to show you what has changed so far. So then I want to make it like kind of circle. That's why I want to give 50% border radius. And then I want to give some border so that you can see that shape. So I will say white border. It needs to be 1 pixel width, and then I will say it's solid style, and you can see it's already working. And now next thing I want to do, I want to add some filtering. So immediately it should look like black and white, but when I will hover over this icon, it will look like its original color. So here I'm going to put 0, so it will look black and white. But when I am going to hover over, it should be its like own color that it had earlier. So it should bring its like original color. So I'm going to say profile icon, then I'm going to say hover, and then let's say filter again, and this time I'm going to give saturate value 1 so that it becomes the original style already when I will hover over. So as you can see, at first it's black and white, but when I'm going to hover, it is become its original color. So that's all for now, but let's focus on putting everything horizontally side by side. And for this reason, what we are going to do, we are going to use, let's say, flex spacing. So I think there are a lot of ways we can do it, but the best way I will do it like using some class. I will create a class called flex space around, and I'll put all those flex space around related code there. But let's see how can we do it. It's not going to be very difficult for us. So in Navbar, I'm going to do it. So this is the Navbar that we have here. I can put it like this way, maybe for the nav upper first. Okay, so let's select the nav upper first, and here I'm going to say display flex. Let's see what happened. And then I'm going to say, of course I cannot use it multiple times, so like this, so I need to remove that colon. And then let's say justify content, let's say space around, and then align item center. So that's all I need for now. Let's see what happens if I do. And you can see immediately it has the look that I was expecting. So now what I can do, actually I know that these are the things that I'm going to use over and over, so probably I'll need this style again in some other places. So that's why it makes sense if I remove them from here, and if I add them here like in this common codes styling. So here I can say flex, let's say space, I can give any name, it's up to me. I will say flex space around. So this is the name I'm giving for all this style that I have created here. And now with the help of this class name, I can call these few lines that I wanted to use for Navbar. So I'm going to go back to the index.html. Here we have this nav upper, and I'm going to use flex space around here. That's all, and it's working the way I wanted, so there is nothing wrong. And then for the nav lower, actually we have few things, but we cannot see them because we haven't assigned any background color and other stuff. So let's work on those things and finish this Navbar styling as quickly as possible. Now so how can I select the nav lower? That's the question. It's going to be very easy. We have one class for nav lower, so let me go back here and add nav lower here. That's all. And I'm going to give minimum height for this one as well. So the minimum height is going to be 10 vertical height, and then I'm going to use a background color, which is going to be the secondary background color, that variable we created earlier. That's all. And this one, font weight, I will change the font weight a little bit. So this time the font weight is going to be, let's say, bolder. That's all. It will look more bolder, and you can see it's already working. And the next thing I want to do for the Navbar brand, so I wanted to make the brand a little bit bigger. So I will say nav brand. So I'm targeting this Anisul Express text because we have assigned this class name there with this text. And I can say font size should be, let's say, 2 rem, so that it looks more bigger than right now. And that's all. Now what I can do, I want to bring them like side by side, as you can see for this demo project. So we can do it because we have one class that we created, and we can reuse that class, which is this flex space around, and that's why we created this common class. Now I can go to the lower, nav lower, where we have this unordered list and all the items inside the unordered list. So we can select this nav lower, and we can say here flex space around, and this should be it for our Navbar, and we are ready here. And as you can see, this output, exactly, we have kind of similar output. And now maybe we can make it responsive, so we can start working with the responsive part. We want to make our Navbar responsive so that when the screen size is small, they act properly, just like the demo one. Now for this demo, of course, you can see that we have one icon, so probably we can start thinking about that, and we can add the icon here. So let me go to the index.html first of all, where I want to add the icon, and then we'll go for the responsiveness part. So at the top, let's go more top here, like before the Navbar, I'm going to add the icon. So the icon that I want to use, it's going to be FA bars. I guess that's the one I'm looking for. So let's select it, and let's hopefully it's going to work. So I will use FAS. That's the one I want to use, and immediately I can see the icon is here. Now I will make it a little bit bigger here, so I will say FA2X, and the icon should look like bigger. That's good. Now for this icon, I want to give an icon actually ID, because later on when I will click this one, it should work just like the demo one. You can see it's working. So I have to give an ID so that I can select it from JavaScript part. Now I'm going to add a little bit JavaScript just for these, menu options or menu icon options, so that when we click here, it will open the Navbar, and again when we'll click here, it will close the Navbar. So let me assign one ID for this one, and I will say this time the ID is going to be menu icon. That's all. Now, of course, what do we want to do? When we'll click here, we want to open the Navbar, and maybe we want to close the Navbar. So we have two options. So we want to work with this Navbar, and that's why we need to give the nav one of the ID, which one is going to be useful later on, because we want to click here and then open or close this Navbar. So that's why we need to select this one as well. And here I'm going to give the ID as a menu. You can give anything, but of course you're following me, so let's do this with me. And now at the beginning, I don't want to, like, let's say I do not want to hide this one, but maybe later on when someone will click the icon, I want to hide the Navbar. So that's why I'm going to add one class which is called hidden, and this will be applied when it needs to be hidden. So that's why I'm giving the class hidden at here, so that later on when I need this one, I can use this class. But we'll see how to use this class anyway. So for now, in the HTML part, we are done. Now we can go to our style.css and we can start working with this one. So first of all, we have added the icon for our this option, as you can see here, and what we want to do with this icon, that's what we have to make sure. Now we can hide this icon by default from the beginning, but when the screen size will be less than, let's say, 992 pixels, then we want to show the icon. So that's why I'm going to go to the style.css here. First of all, I'm going to select the menu icon. So by default, I'm going to say display none. So there will be no icon. You can see the icon is now disappeared. But when the screen size is, let's say, 992 pixels, I want to show the icon. That's what I want to do. So we have to think about the responsiveness first now. So let me create the responsive code at the bottom here, and I'm going to make a comment. Let's say responsiveness starts here. So all of our responsive related code will be here, and then I will say responsiveness ends here. Now I want to select the screen, let's say when it's 992 pixel or less than 992 pixels. So that's why I'm using media, and then I'm going to say maximum width, and I'm going to give it 992 pixel. So when the screen size is 992 pixel or less than 992 pixel, what I want to do? First of all, I want to display my menu icon. That's why I'm going to say display block. So the icon will be displayed when the screen size is 992 pixel or less than 992 pixel. So right now you can see it because it was like 992 pixel or less than, but when the screen size is bigger than 992 pixel, you don't see it. Okay, that's all. And here what I want to do, let's say I want to place it in the center when we can see the icon. So it should be in the center, and you can see it's in the center. And then what I want to do, I want to give some margin, and I will say 1 rem from the top and bottom, from left and right it's 0. Then I want to use the cursor pointer, so when I will take my cursor, it should look like pointer. And then we have assigned one class called hidden. You remember we did it with the Navbar. And what is the purpose of this class? It should be none here. So when that hidden class will be applied to the Navbar, it should disappear. That's why I'm saying display none. Now we'll take care of this one with our JavaScript, definitely not now. So we'll see how to work with this. But right now, if I say display none, then probably you won't see it immediately. So for now, I'll comment this one here. The last thing I want to do when I make it smaller, or 992 pixel or less than 992 pixel, I do not want these options side by side. I want them just like this, so vertically. I want to place them vertically. So what was that code that helped us to bring them side by side? It was flex space around, if you remember. Definitely it was this part. So that's why I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste this part here. And I'm going to change only one thing, because I know that by default displayed flex direction is row wise. So I want to change that flex direction. That's all I want to do. I want to make it column. So now you can see when the screen size is 992 pixel or less than 992 pixel, you can see them like they are right now column wise, not row wise anymore. They are not horizontally anymore, they are vertically basically. So I hope you got the idea. But here one more thing, the gap between the items is not that much, so I'll increase the gap. I will say 1 rem is the gap between the items, and you can see them now better. Then I'm going to add some more padding here for this situation, and I'll say 1 rem at the top and bottom, and left and right it's going to be 0. So that's all for the responsiveness. Now the last thing I want to work is when I click here, I want to make it, let's say, disappear, and when I click here again, I want to show the Navbar. That's what I want to do. Now we already know we have to involve some JavaScript in order to click this one, and so that it works with this Navbar beautifully, just like our demo one. You can see if I click, it opened the Navbar, and again it closed the Navbar. So this is something we want to do. So we want to involve some JavaScript this time, and for this reason we have to create one file. Let's say it's going to be index.js here, and then we can start working with some JavaScript. But now I do not want you to understand too much JavaScript, but at least I'm going to explain some JavaScript definitely. But before even adding any JavaScript code, I want to add JavaScript to the HTML first. So let me go at the bottom here, at the bottom of this body, like just before closing the body, I want to add script tag. And with the help of script tag, we can add JavaScript here. So let me select the JavaScript file, index.js file here. That's all. Now JavaScript file is connected with this HTML, and we can start working with the JavaScript. Now what do you want from what do we want to put in JavaScript here? So basically I want to select this one, and I want to select the Navbar. That's my first target, so that when I click here it will open or close this Navbar. So how can we select those things, these HTML items that we have? So first of all, I want to select this one, and I want to select this one as well. So we have some ID here, and with the help of this ID we can select them from JavaScript. So let me do that. Let me be real quick here. First of all, I want to select the icon. That's why I'm saying icon, and then document dot, let's say, get element by ID. I can select HTML element by ID, and the ID I have given for this icon is menu icon, if you remember. So if I go again there, you can see this is the ID I'm targeting from here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste, because I need to select now the Navbar. Now for the Navbar, I given this ID called menu. Definitely you can give whatever you want to give. So I will say menu here, and here I'm going to say menu. So that's basically our nav menu. So I can say nav, maybe that will make more sense. I will say nav menu. That's all. And then I can now start working on this one. So when I'll click the icon, I want to do something, and for this reason I have to say menu icon and dot add event listener. We want to listen something when we'll click the menu. So that's for JavaScript. When you click here, it's basically one event is happening, and now you want to take care of this event. And the event happen, it's called click event, when you click the something. And then what you want to do, you have to define that thing inside here, this curly brace. That's all. So when I will click the menu icon, I want to do something. That's all I am saying here. Now what I want to do, if the menu or the nav menu, I will select the nav menu definitely. If the nav menu is already hidden, which means if it has the class name called hidden, that's what I want to do. Now I have to use the equal, and then I have to say hidden here. Then what I want to do, and if it is not hidden, then what I want to do. So these are two things I have to say here. I'm going to take care of remove this question mark from here. Now if you remember that inside the nav we have one class called hidden, and what is the purpose of this class we have already defined in our CSS. It should take care, it should use this property called display none. So it should work when someone click. If it is already hidden, then if someone click again the icon, that what do we want to show? We want to show the the Navbar. So we want to remove this class called hidden. So that's why I will say here nav menu. So I have to select the nav menu here, nav menu dot class list. I want to remove this class this time, so I will say remove, and then let's remove this hidden. That's all. So if it is already hidden, then we want to show it, and that's why I'm removing this hidden class. And if it is not, then I want to do it other way. So let's say if it is open, then I want to hide it. That's why I will add this hidden class. That's all. I'm going to remove this question mark, and we are done basically. So right now it's 992 pixels, and you can see it's working fine. When I click, it shows. When I click again, it just disappears. But when it is more than 992 pixels, the screen size, you don't see that icon anymore. And I think I tried my best, but if you do not understand JavaScript, that's not bigger concern here. So basically we are selecting the icon, selecting the navbar. If someone clicking the icon, that's what we want to do. If the icon, if the navbar is already hidden, then you, if it is already hidden, then you want to show it. If it is not hidden, then you want to, hide it. That's all. That's all you want to do here. We have done really good. We have designed the navbar. Now we can start creating the footer, because navbar and footer is something that we are going to use in all the pages like register, login, contact, and also profile page. So you have seen how the footer is going to be. I'm going to show you again. Here you can see the demo of the footer that we are going to create, and this navbar and footer is going to be reused in all other pages. So let's start creating the footer now. I'm going to go to the our page that we are designing, basically this one, and this is the demo, as you know already. Right, so I'm going to index to the HTML file, and at the end, after navbar here, I'm going to create the footer, and definitely main is going to be here. Right now I'm going to say main, that's all, and here I'm going to say, let's say for an instance, it's going to be h2, and I'm going to say I am main page. Something like this. I just want to put something here, that's all, so that I know I'm in the main page right now. And then what I'm going to do, for an instance here, I'm going to say, let's say footer, and then for footer what we want to do, if you have seen the demo, then basically on the left hand side we have some text, and then close to the text we have this input field, and then a button, subscribe button, and on the right hand side we have some text. So basically we need two div here. So for the left side I will create one div, and for the right side I'm going to create another div. So let's do it. Here's the first side, and I'm going to create first div actually, and inside this div I need actually a label. So I'm going to say this is the label for, let's say, subscribe. So I'm going to say subscribe, that's all, and here I'm going to show the text that I want to show, subscribe to newsletter. That's what I wanted to show. Okay, newsletter, that's all. And then I need the input field, as you have seen here. I need the input field and then a button. So let me finish this one, input field, and definitely this one is going to be email type, because I'm going to receive email. Okay, so let's put it here, and then I want to use ID subscribe. And why is that? Because I want to group them together, so I want to make them accessible. That's why whatever I have used here for the label, that's the same thing I'm going to use as an ID here for this input field, so that they are grouped together and they're more accessible. All right, and then I'm going to use a class here. This is something will be needed later on, so I can say footer input here. And when I'm here, I want to give a class for this one. Let's say the class is going to be footer, that's all. And for this div, I can assign a class, but right now just focus on label and input field. These are two things we need, and then we can give a placeholder as well. So let's do it. I'm going to assign a value for the placeholder. Let's say your email address, something like this, your email address, and we are done nearly. Now you can use name here. Definitely name is something is going to help us to get the data later on, so that we can put the name here. It doesn't make sense right now, but let's put it here. And then at the end we need a button, so let's create the button here. So for button we need some text. I'm going to say it's subscribe, then definitely we can give something else. So here is the text subscribe, and then I can assign a class called button, and then I am going to add one more class just to make sure that there is going to be some extra design for this button. So I will say subscribe, and this button class is going to be like universal, because we need to create button in other places so that we can reuse the code, and that's the purpose of this button class. Of course we are going to create these classes. They are not ready yet, but I'm just naming it for now. So whatever we need on the left hand side, I think we have already. You can see we have on the left hand side, and let's look at the right hand side. What we need, we just need a text for this copyright. So I'm going to copy and maybe paste it very quick. So I need one more div for the right hand side, and here inside the paragraph I'm going to paste the text. That's all. But I want to like show the copyright icon, this one, so probably I can use the entity, so copy and then semicolon. That's all. And this should be it. All of our like HTML structure is ready. Now we can start designing with CSS. But before doing anything else, we have one class already that we created for like moving them side by side, you remember? So we want to move the left hand div this way and the right hand side div on the right side, definitely. So we have one class called flex space around. That is something we have used here, everywhere, I guess. So I can use that class at the top here for the footer, because the footer has two div, one div for left side and one div for right side. So here I'm going to use the class that we have already created, which is flex space around, and straight away you can see the change. Definitely they are on the left side and right side. Okay, so it's a good time now. We can move on to the CSS part, but before even doing that, I wanted to do something with the left hand side. I want to make sure they are in the right place, so they are like horizontally side by side, definitely, and also vertically. Probably this is something we can use again, so I can take help of the same class here, flex space around, and let's reuse this class here inside this div. So that's all. Actually there is nothing else, so that I am making sure they are in the right place, nothing else. Now let's go to the CSS, and remember that we have few classes that we are going to create. Before anything else, I'm going to create this button class, because this is something going to be reusable everywhere. Designed our beautiful navbar and also footer. We can copy paste navbar and footer to other pages so that they have this minimal structure. So what I'm going to do, I am going to, let's say, copy paste everything from here to first card HTML, and then I am going to change something here, definitely. So let's say card page for now, card page, that's all. And I'm going to do exact same thing here for the contact.html, and I'm going to, let's say here in the main contact page, I am contact page, that's all. Now of course we should have one main for the entire page, so remember this one. But for now, let's just keep it like this. And here I'm going to say in the login page, let's say I am login page. Definitely we are going to change the content later on, but for now let's keep it like this way. And I'm going to paste everything in the product page. So this is going to be product details actually, and I think I'm going to say here I am product details page. All right, and let's do the same thing for the profile. So here I'm going to say I am profile page. And at the end for the register.html, I'm going to do the same thing, pasting the thing that we have. And of course I need to change it somewhere so that I understand it's for register. So here I'm going to say I'm register page. Now that we are done, I want to make sure that they are working. So if I click home, I can see I'm in the home page. If I go to the register, I can see I'm in the register page. If I click home again, I can go back to the home page. Login page is also working. Logout page, when I'm clicking on logouts, you remember we are basically moving to the home page. And when I click on contact, you can see it's showing I'm a contact page, which means we are in the right place. If I click the profile, then we should see I am a profile page, or I am profile page, something like this. So the profile one is not working the way I expected. So maybe we need to fix this one. If I click here, it should go to the profile, not to the contact, definitely. So I think it's something we are clicking on the link, and that's this is the icon we are clicking, and it's not working. So the icon is here. So that's the problem here. You can see we have to say profile.html, otherwise it's not going to work. So the same thing now I have to do everywhere. So let me go to the navbar and do the adjustment here, profile.html. Let me go back to the product and let me finish this one here. So I think it should be here. Yeah, there you go. So it should be profile.html. And then also same thing for login. I have to go all the way up, and here I need to say profile.html. And what about other places? Index.html. I think that was the main place where we did make this mistake. So let me go back and finish this one here, profile.html. And I'm just going to recheck again from the card page whether it's okay. No, so I need to make adjustment here, and I need to say profile.html. So I did make sure that it's okay in the contact. Is it? Let me check it again. No, here I need to change for this one, profile.html. Then index.html, we fixed it. We fixed in the login.html, we fixed it in the profile product, and also same in the profile, and also for the register. We are done. Now if I click here, I can see it's showing I am profile page. What about the card? If I click on the card, it says card page. If I click here, then I'm supposed to be in the home page, and it's true, I'm in the home page. So everything is working. All our pages, they have this beautiful navbar and also the footer, so that we can keep working from here. So now we can move on to the next task that we wanted to do. The next one is going to be like this banner. Now we can start working for this banner, and I'm sure this banner will not be too much difficult for us, because we have already learned HTML and CSS very well. So far we have done a wonderful job, and we created our beautiful navbar and also the footer. Now we can move on to the next one. Now if I go to the project demo, then you can see that we have a banner here after the navbar. And for this banner, I'm using header. So I'm using header tag. Inside the header tag, you can see that we have some text. For this one, I'm using marquee tag. Of course, I'm not using any JavaScript here, because I wanted to keep my things simple. And then in this area, you can see there are 3 features you can see. Like I'm going to ship within 7 days, I'm going to give support 24/7, and also I am giving guarantee of safe payment. So there are 3 features of my e-commerce website, definitely, or my e-commerce business. And I'm going to keep them inside a div called features. But anyway, let's start, and we'll create the basic structure with HTML first, and then we are going to design with CSS as usual. So I'm moving to the project, and here you can see our navbar, and after the navbar here, before the main, I'm going to create the header. So let me do it real quick. I'm going to make a comment here. Let's say header starts here, and then header ends here. That's all. And inside these 2 comments, I'm going to start creating the header. So first of all, as I said, I'm going to use the header tag, and the header tag will have a class called, let's say, header. And inside the header, I will create a div called banner. The class will, for the div will be banner. So let's say div and then banner, and then of course I'm going to use flex space around, but I can wait for that one. Right now, let's keep it until like banner. That's all. So then we are going to use the marquee tags or marquee tag that I already discussed. And here the behavior or direction, I'm not going to do anything else here, but I'm going to add 1 class for this text. So I'll say banner title. That's all. And inside the banner title text, I'm going to say, let's say 50% sales going on right now. So let's say something like this, sales going on. That's all. And if I save it and if I go to the output, definitely if I go to the home page, and it should be here somewhere, but you will not see right now. Do not worry, we are going to finish it and then we'll check this out. But one thing I just checked here, I'm doing in the register page, which is not supposed to do. So I'm going to move the entire code in the index.html. Basically there I want to show this one. So let me go there, and here I'm going to paste the code. Now if I save this code, you will see the output. Basically it's going there, 50% sales going on. Brilliant job. Now after that, you remember that I have to create one more div which is going to hold all these like feature. So that's why I'm going to create one more div here, and for that div I'm going to assign a class called features. That's all. And inside this features class, I'm going to create one article that is going to have a class called feature. So I'm creating just first feature, and then I can copy paste other. So let's focus on first feature. And here what I'm going to say, I'm going to add an icon first. As you have seen, for all the feature we have icon and some text. So I'm going to create one icon here. For the icon, the class is going to be FS solid. It's going to be a font awesome icon. So I'm using everything from font awesome. You can search for this icon in the font awesome website, and then you can bring them here, but I'm going to use it from here first. And then at the end I want to add one class so that I can design them later. So this is my own class that I'm using. It's called feature icon. So that's all, and you will be able to see the output if I move to the page, and it should be here somewhere. If you don't see it, do not worry, we're going to see it later on. So right now we have this FS solid, FS track fast, and then the class called feature icon. And after that I'm going to add one h3 tag. This will say, let's say, shipping within 7 days. That's all, shipping within 7 days. Fair enough. So far we have done wonderful job. If you do not see the icon, do not worry, we'll fix this very soon. But I think so far we have done wonderful job, and now I can copy paste this article another 2 times, and there you go. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the icon, so it's going to be this time FA brands, and then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say FA rocket chat, something like this. So this is going to be for chat, so I will say rocket and then chat. That's all, and I should see the icon. Basically it's there. And then I'm going to fix the other one, but before even going to that one, I need to change the text of this one. So I will say support 24/7. That's all. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Next one, text is going to be, let's say, safe payment. So I'm going to check the text first. I'm going to write the text first. It's going to be safe payment, and here I want to make it capitalized, so support 24/7. That's all. Now let's change the icon as well. The icon is going to be FA regular icon from Font Awesome, definitely again, and then here I'm going to use FA credit card. So let's do this, FA credit card. That's all, I'm done. Now if I save it, you can see all the icons here except the first one. So definitely we need to figure out what's wrong with the first one. Let me go real quick. I can see FA solid, and then I have FA track fast, and I really don't see anything wrong in this icon, and I hope it will be here very soon, but I can change it if I have to. So I'm looking for the track icon. I think I'm going to go to the Font Awesome and make sure that I'm picking up the right one. Font Awesome website, let's try it here, and there you go. We have this Font Awesome website, Font Awesome website icon. I'm going there, and then I'm going to search for this track icon. Okay, I can see there are a lot of icons here. I can pick up any one of them, so maybe this is the good one. I'm going to copy the FA solid, FA track. That's all, and then I'm going to paste it here somewhere. That's all, and let's see whether we can see the output. Okay, brilliant. We can see it's here. Okay, good job. Now what else we want to do here, when I tried fast it didn't work, and I want to see now it's working. Okay, good, now it's working. So definitely there was something wrong. Now we have our HTML structure, and we can start CSS, but before even that we have some classes that we can already use. So first of all, in the banner div, let me go up. This is the banner div, which is holding everything for us. So it's holding the marquee, and then it should hold the features as well. So I need to cut everything from here to here. So I'm cutting my features class, and I'm going to paste it after this marquee. So remember, this is something I didn't do right. Now they're in a good position. So in the banner div, I have text and also this features div that is holding some individual feature. Now I need to place them kind of like text here and all the features here. So I need to use flex space around that I created earlier. So I'm going to do that things here, the class we have created earlier, and immediately you can see they are not the way I expected, because by default they are like row wise. So I need to make them column wise, and this is something we are going to do very soon in our CSS. But whatever I can use this flex space around, I'm going to use this because this is something we have already created. Now the same thing I wanted to use here in the features. So I make sure that spell everything correctly, features, features. There you go. And here I'm going to add the flex space around. So but now we haven't added any CSS, and we are not changing also the direction. We can start adding the CSS. So let's go to the style.css file and start applying the CSS that we wanted. So I'm going to the style.css here, And now let's create this banner, or well, let's start like header design, start somewhere. So I think before the main, I'm going to do it here, and let's say header starts here. That's all. Good. And then header ends here, and here we can start design our header. Now inside the header, of course, we have this banner. We'll select that one very soon. So let's first select the header tag and header class, and we're going to say that's a padding 4 rem, top and bottom, and left and right 0, so that we have some padding at the top and bottom. Of course we have. And then I'm going to say height is going to be 80 vertical height for this one. So you can see it's taking 80 vertical height. And then what we're going to do here, we're going to add some background image later on, but right now let's focus on other things. I am going to select the banner here, and then for banner I'm going to say width is 100%. So this entire banner div will take with 100%. Height will be 100%. Now in this banner class we have used, if you remember, flex space around, but we said by default the direction is row. So now we need to change the flex direction here with column. That's all. And now you will see they are at top bottom the way we wanted. Now this is working fine. Now let's move on to the banner title. We are going to select it and we are going to design it a little bit. So here I think I can say banner title, and then let's give a font size of 4 rem so that it looks bigger, and then I can give a color of yellow for this banner title, and then I'm going to assign some padding for this one, which is going to be 1 rem. And then let's use this border radius thing that we have created earlier in the variable section, so that there is a round shape around this text. Alright, and you can see it's going on. But I think the background color is background is not yet here. That's why it doesn't look that much visible, but do not worry, we are doing everything fine so far. Now it's a good time to move on to the features. Now what I want to do, I want to like close all this HTML file, and so that you can see where I'm working. So I'm going back to this index.html. I'm going to start working with this features div now. So let me select the features, and let me come back here. I will say features will take, let's say features, yeah, this is the one I need to select. I'll say it will take with 100%. Okay, and then what I want to do here, I'm going to select the individual feature. So we have individual feature, which is basically article tag, and here I'm going to give a background color. So let's give a background color. It's going to be RGBA, and then it's going to be 80, 160, 78, and 0.7. That's the background color I want to assign. And you can see all the feature, they have a background color right now. And what else we want to do? We want to say the color of these features will be white, so you can see text color and icon color has been changed. And then also I'm going to use border radius, so I think I can copy and paste this border radius here. Then I'm going to give some padding, so let's say the padding is going to be 1 rem for this one. And you can see some space already, it's happening here. And then what else we want to do? We want to set some width for this each feature. I think 15 rem is good, and okay, it looks good. And then what else we want to do? I think we want to give a gap of 1 rem. But remember, I have used something here, the flex things. If I go back and if you see the feature here, I think I want to move them in the center, let's say. And how can I do this? So if I go to the index.html, definitely you will see that I'm moving to the index.html definitely here. So we have each feature, and I want to move them in the center. So it's better if I use a class to move that in the center. So of course I can do that here. Definitely I can say, let's say display flex, and then I can say, let's say something like this, justify content center and align item center. So this is something I can do definitely here. But these are the lines of code that I'm going to reuse. So isn't it make sense that if we create a class for this reason, which is going to be reusable everywhere? So let's do that. I think I can copy this part these 3 lines, and I'm going to cut them, and I'm going to create a new class which is going to be reusable after this one. Let's say flex center. The name of the class is going to be flex center, and I'm going to paste all the code that I need. Now let me go back to the index.html, and in the feature I am going to use this class called flex center so that I can move the item in the center. So here I'm going to say flex center. Same thing I'm going to do for this feature, so flex center, and also the same thing for this one called flex center. And that's all. Basically I'm done. But now when I saved it, you see the default direction is row wise, so I want to make it column, and that's why I have to go back to the feature class that I just created few minutes ago here, and here I'm going to say flex direction is going to be column, and that's all. Now we have our beautiful thing here. Of course we need to make more styling things here in order to look like it's the demo one. So now I think I can select the feature icon and make it a little bit bigger. So let me do it. I am here, feature icon, and then I can say the font size is around 3 rem. There you go. It looks better, except the first one, I think I'm missing the feature icon class for the first one. So I can go back and add feature icon here. There you go. I think it's missing here, as you can see. Alright, now everything looking fine except one thing. It's that if you compare to the demo project, it's missing the background image. Now of course I have added all the images. You remember you can bring your own images from the website called Unsplash. So you can go to this website, you can search for images, and you'll get different type of image. So make sure you are looking for e-commerce type of image, and that you can add to your website. Now let me go and add some image for the banner. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the style.css where I want to add the image as a background image. That's the question. I will add inside this header class, so the header tag will have a background image, and here I'm going to do that. So I'm going to use background URL. That's the one I want to use in order to add the image. So it's going to be background, then image, or I can just use background, I think. And then as a URL, I want to give the source of the images. So the source is going to be from images folder, and then banner.jpg. That's the one I want to use. And I want to make sure that there is no repeat, so the image should not repeat multiple times, and also the placement of the image should be center. And there you go, we have the image here. And I want to make it fixed, so the attachment of this image fixed, and also the size should be like of course more responsive, more covered. So that's why I am going to do something like this. Background attachment, it should always attach. So the one I have to use called background, and then attachment. There you go, and it should be fixed. That's all. Now after fixing it, I need to make give a size for this background. So background size should be cover, so everything should be cover, and I can see it well, and it's working fine. Now that we are done with this banner, what else we can do? It's working fine. There is nothing wrong with this one. But I also want to think about making it responsive. So let's make this banner section responsive. And how can we do it? Actually, we have our structure that we need. So what I can do, I can go to the responsive code that we have already created here. For 992 pixel, I want to say flex space around is the direction. I want to say, let's say column, that I have already. Now one more class I have created, which is called flex center. So I want to select that one here as well, the flex center one. And I want to say when like the screen size 992 pixel, it should have this type of things. So now if I save it, you will see there will be a change here when it's 992 pixels. So they will have more space, definitely. And for the header, I want to give the height, let's say 100 vertical height. So after this thing here, I'm going to select the header, and I'm going to say the height should be 100 vertical height. That's all. So now if I move it like to 992 pixel, you'll see the changes. Now they have 100 vertical height, definitely. Is there anything else we can do for other screen size? That's the question, and I think there is nothing we need to do at this point, and everything is working beautifully as the way we expected. Now we can move to the other part, which is going to be this part. As you can see, now the actual thing is going to start. Now that we have designed the banner section, we can move to the next section, and you can see this main section basically divided into two parts. On the left hand side, we have these categories, price range, and shipping options. On the right hand side, you can see we have some option for sorting items. Then we have an option for searching product, but definitely they are not going to work. As you know, they are only for design purpose. And then we have some cards where we are going to display some of our products. So let's start working on the left hand side first, and then we can move to the right hand side. Now this is going to be our main tag, so everything you can see here is going to be inside main tag, and I'm dividing the main tag into two parts. So one part is the sidebar and another one is the main content. Now we are going to start building the sidebar first, as I said, and definitely I'm going to start with the HTML part for this sidebar, and then we're going to start designing anyway. So let me move to the index.html real quick, and then let me go to the main section where it's saying I am a main page. I'm going to remove everything from here. Now, as I said, I'm going to create two parts. One is going to be the sidebar and another one is going to be main content. That's all. And now I'm going to start with this one, the sidebar first. But when I will have something, I want to show you, let's say this is sidebar and this is going to be main content here. So right now I can put some text and I want to see the output, how basically it's working. So if I go down below and reload it, let me reload it very soon. And you can see they are not side by side. So the way I wanted them, like let's say place in the center, and they should be side by side. Now we have one class that we created earlier, and we can take help from this class called Flex Center. So let me use that class here, Flex Center. And when I have used this class, now you can see they're in the center, and that's what I wanted. I wanted them side by side. Now let's move on to the HTML part, and let's see what other things we can do here. Now first of all, I want to create a section for the categories section. So for this one I want to create a section. For this one I want to create a section, and for the last one I want to create a section. So if I can create one, then maybe I can copy paste very easily. So let me do that. I'm going to start with the first one. So I'm going to create a section, and that section will have a class here called categories section. So categories section, that's all. Now that I have this class, I can go further and then add at least the title for this section, which is going to be the categories. So let me write it down here, it's categories, and then let me give a class for this title. The title probably we have used earlier, which is section title. If we have not used, then I'm going to definitely create this one, so no problem. Here we have this section title, and I'm going to design this very soon. Then what else we can do, but before even doing anything else, let me make it a little bit more bigger so that you can see it well. And then I'm going to create an unordered list, because inside the unordered list I'm going to have list, and inside the list I'm going to add the inputs that I want to. So here I'm going to give a class for this unordered list. Inside unordered list I'm going to have a class called list item, and then inside this list item I'm going to create a label, and this label is going to be for telephone. So let's say telephone here. You can name it anything, but the purpose of this label is that I'm going to create an inbox or input field actually here, and this input field is going to be checkbox type. And here the naming is not that much important, so we can avoid it for now, but I want to give a value here, an ID definitely, because I want to make it accessible. So exactly same value I'm just copying from here and pasting in as ID here. The last thing I want to give here for this checkbox, as I said, it's going to be telephones. If someone select, then the value should be telephones for this input field. And then at the end, definitely we want to show something. So if I save it right now, you will not see any output here. So there is no text after this checkbox. Even though the checkbox is created, it has some value, but you do not see any text. So for this reason, I need to give some value here. I'm going to say telephones, and I'm done. You will see the output immediately. It's here. Now let me copy paste and create few more list item. Is going to be super easy because we have created one list. Actually this one is supposed to be list and I have made a mistake, so sorry about this. So let me just copy paste a few more times. So I have done one more copy pasting here, and this time let's say it's going to be for tablets. So I will say tablets, and then here I want to say exactly same thing, so let me copy paste a few more times. Here tablets, and here tablets makes sense, and at the end I'll paste it here as well. But for this one maybe I'll make it capital, so let's keep it like this way. And right now we can see that we have two options. So I'm going to add few more, let's say one more list item. I'm going to copy and paste, and this time it's going to be for televisions. So I will say televisions. And then let me be real quick, I can copy paste this one to everywhere, here and here as well, and at the end here. I could do everything at the same time, but let's do it. Now we are going to have 3. I want to add, let's say 2 more, so I can copy paste, and this time I'm going to say computer, so I will select everywhere at the same time so that it will save our time. Okay, there you go, and I can say computers. Good job so far. Now let's add the last one, which is going to be, let's say, for headphones. So I'm going to copy paste everything from here and change the value here, everywhere. So I'm selecting everything all together. Here I'm going to say headphones. And that's all for now. We have few more categories. Of course, in the demo one, you can see that we have more categories maybe, but I will keep it like this many. That's all. Now that we have one section created, now I think copy paste and make our things, our life more easier. So from where I started, what I want to do, first of all, you need to understand that now I want to do something like this. So I can copy paste everything that I did earlier for checkbox. This time we'll just make it radio button. That's all. So let's do it real quick. I am going to select this section from here. What I can do, I can minimize this entire section and copy paste down below. That's all. Now I'm going to minimize this section again so that I can see my things well, not the entire sidebar, just the category section, and I can focus on this one. The naming should be changed this time because now we are doing something for price. So let's put it price section, and let's say here price range for now. Now this is good. There is nothing wrong so far. We are doing really well. And now list item is going to be exactly the same. Let's keep it the way we wanted. Now here I'm going to, let's say for price 1, maybe you can put anything, it doesn't matter. And now I need to change it as a radio button. That's what I want to do. And here I'm going to say price 1, same thing, maybe not in the value. I can give any value. It's totally up to you what value you want to give. Let's say 0 to 20 for now. Let's say something like this. Okay, fair enough. So far we have done well. And then now as a value, what do we want to show? I think I'm going to show 0 to $20. That's what I want to show. Okay, good job. Now if you look at the output, you can see we are getting it. So exactly something that we expected. Now let me copy paste a few more times. I think it's better if I delete the other options because I have the one that should be copied every single time. So I'm going to remove all the lists that I have except this one. And now let's make it copy paste and let's change it a little bit. So here I'm going to say price 2, and let's say price 2. This time let's say value is going to be from 21 to 50. So 21 to 50. And I can change the value here. It's going to be 21 and then 50. Good job. Now what else I want to do for the next one? Let me copy paste again. Here I'm going to say it's going to be for price 3. Price 3 will make sense. This one makes sense. And let's just give some demo value here, even though they doesn't matter that much because we are not like using JavaScript here. So I'm going to say 51 to 100. Makes sense so far. Okay, now what are the other things I want to do? I want to add one more. Let's say this is going to be the last one, and here I want to say price 4. And for now let's make this one as a price 4, and the last one I want to say, for an example, 101 and plus. So let's keep it like this way. That's all. Of course I wanted to say 101 plus here. All right, I think I'm done, and let's see the output. Okay, fine. We have 2 sections already. Now the last section, let's create it very soon, because we have something very similar. And if you look at this, these are radio buttons. So we have radio buttons already. Now what I can do, I can come back here because I'm done with the price section. I can minimize and copy paste this price section. That's all. Let me minimize it again. Price section is minimized, and this time I want to bring some changes here. For this one, I want to say shipping option. So let's say shipping option here, and then I want to say the same thing here, shipping options. Okay, so we have the shipping sections, then inside the shipping section we have shipping options. Now there will be only 2 options, one will be free, another one is paid, so I can delete others. I do not need 4 for this one, I will just keep 2. So first one is going to be free. Here I'm going to say free, and then I need to say the same thing here, free, and as a value I'm going to say just free. So everywhere I said free, that's all. Now the naming is going to be same for both of these items, so I will say shipping, exactly same naming, or like I should use the naming for others as well. So I did made a mistake earlier, I didn't include this name property, even though we are not using it, but we can give some value for all the names here. So let me select all of them all together so that you can select one item at a time. So that's why I'm going to give one naming for all the radio buttons related to price, so that you can select only one, not all of them, just select one. That's what I want. Now exactly same thing I want to do for this one, because you can see right now we can select 2, and this is something we do not want here, and that's why the name matters a lot here. So let me go more down and complete this one. Here we are going to say it's going to be free, and then we are going to come here. Let's say this time it's going to be the name, as I said, it's matter, so you need the same naming for this one. I'll say shipping, and let's change the value this time. It's going to be paid, so I want to see the text paid, and as a value here we can pass paid. The last change I think we need to do here, for value I'm going to make it paid as well for the label. And basically I'm done for the HTML part. Now we can start designing this one. I can give a quick recheck that whatever we have done so far. So let me minimize this shipping section, and also let me minimize this price section. Now you can see that inside the sidebar we have 3 section categories: price and shipping section, and we have created some checkbox here, some radio button for this one and some radio button for the last one, and we are done for the HTML part of the sidebar. Now we can go to the style.css and start designing the sidebar so that it looks like this. Moving to the styling part, I want to explain you one more thing here. If you look at the width of this entire area, then you can understand this sidebar is taking 1 part out of 4. So if you divide the entire width of this area 4, then the sidebar is taking 1 out of 4, and this area is taking 3 out of 4. So this is what we are going to do at first, so that they are placed exactly the way we want it. So let me go back to this style.css, and from the last time where we left, I think it's here. This is the main starts here, and we want to work here. So I'm going to start with sidebar. You remember inside the main we have 2 things. One is sidebar and another one is main content. So this is something we want to select. Now I want to say the sidebar is going to take 1 part out of the entire width, and this main content is going to take 3 part out of 4. So how can we say that? It's going to be very easy. You can say flex 1, and here you can say flex 4. So the entire area will be divided into 4 actually, and from the 4 we are assigning 3 parts for this main content and 1 part for the sidebar. And why we can use these things? Because if you have seen, we are using flex here, this flex center. Now if I go back to this flex center class, then you will see that we are using flex layout. So if you are using flex layout, then the item of flex layout can use this type of things like flex. Now if I save it, you will see the change immediately. Now let's make a few more adjustments here. I'm going to assign some padding for this sidebar, definitely, because if you see them right now, they do not have enough space. So I'm going to say bar, and then I'm going to use the padding that I wanted to use. And now you can see it has some padding. And then what else we want to do? I want to make display flex here so that the item can be placed like in the center. So I'm going to use some display flex property here. And let's say then, of course, the direction needs to be changed because by default it's a row wise. So I'm going to say column. That's all. And then I'm going to say justify content center because I want to place them in center. And let's say then the gap is going to be, let's say 1 rem for now. And here, one more last thing I want to say, I want to align self. I want to use align self, and I want to bring here at the beginning, because if you notice in the sidebar, they are in the center. But let's say if I want to bring it here, then what I can do, the entire sidebar, that's what I want to. Now, you know that we are using flex layout. So if I go back, you can see we're using flex layout here. And we have 2 items inside this flex layout. One is sidebar, another one is main content. Now, if I need to move one flex item individually, I can do that with the help of align self. And here I can say flex start. That's all. Now you'll see it moves more to upper side. And that's all for now. I think we are done with this sidebar. We have finished our sidebar. Now we can move on to this main content. Now, if you see the main content, as I discussed earlier, first of all, we have some actions option here. We can take some action. We can sort, and then we can search the product. So I'm going to create this area first, and then we can move on to this products area. So let's start creating the HTML part first for this one, and then we can move on to the designing part. Now I'm going to go to the index.html, and definitely you can see this is our main content area. And I'm going to start working from here. By the way, I can minimize this part so that it will be much more easier for us to, see our code. So here is going to be the Navbar. I'm going to minimize this one, also minimize the header part. And now we can start working here in the main content. So if you look at this main content of our project, then you can see that this is one section. Let's name it as an actions, and inside this section we have 2 div. So I'm using one div for this one and another div for this one. You can do it many ways, but I will just do this way, my own way. And when I'm done with this section, then I can move to this section. So I'm going to use one section for this one, and that section is going to divide it into 2 div. So let's do this. Here I'm going to create a section, as I said, and this section is going to have a class called actions. And that's all. Inside this section, I'm going to have 2 div. One div is going to have a name, class name, let's say actions sort, because I want to do the sorting things inside this div. And another div is going to have actions search. So I need 2 div. That's all. Now let's say here sort, and here I'm going to say search, and I want to see the output. So let's check the output. How does it look like? We have the output here, but we do not want them to be like this way. We want to place them side by side. So as you see in this project demo, we want them side by side like this. So there should be some space around them. And for this reason, we have one class that we already created. So we can use something like flex space around. Now, if I go to this actions class, here I can add one more. That is something we created earlier, so we can use this flex space around. And now you can see they are taking space around them. Now we can start working with this one first, the sorting options. Now here, as you have seen the project demo, we are basically using select options. So let's do that. We are going to create a select options here, and definitely not like this. I wanted to say select, that's all. Now I need to give a name here, and this time I can say it anything. I will say sort, and then here I'm going to say sort. By the way, I want to give a label for this one so that it looks better, and here I'm going to say label for sort, and let's say sort by. That's all for now. And inside this select, now I can bring some options. So the first option is going to be here, the value is sold, and let's say most sold first. So this is something I want to show at the beginning, the first option. And if I save it and go back, then you will see this one as an option. That's good. Now I can copy paste few more time and then change the value. The value I want to give here, let's say rating. The next one is going to be price. Next one is going to be arrival. And the last one is going to be here discount. Discount. Here I can say biggest discount first, something like this. So let's put some value for the last one first, biggest discount first, and then here arrival, so newest first. What about here? We are going to give some option for price. So I think I can say it's most cheapest first, or just cheapest first. All right, and then we have one more, I guess. Let me finish that one as well. This is here, most sold first, but we are going to use for rating, so I'm going to give something related rating. Let's say most rated first, that's all. And I'm done for this one. You can see we have many options. Now we can move to this one's HTML part, so we need to do something with the search. And here is the search. We have action search. We can come back here. For this one, we just need one input field and button, that's all. So I'm going to create one input field. This type is going to be text, and I want to give a placeholder here. Placeholder is going to be search product. And after this input field, if you look at the demo one, we have this button. Inside the button, we have one icon. So that's what you have to remember here when you are working with this one. So I'm going to create a button, and this button definitely going to have a class called button that we have created earlier. And now inside this button, I want to create the icon that I wanted to show. So the icon I wanted to show is FA magnifying glass. That's what I want to use here. So FA magnify, definitely not like this. I have to start with I dot font awesome. So I'm using it from Font Awesome. You can go and search in the Font Awesome website for magnifying glass. And then I'm going to use solid, and the last class is going to be FA magnifying. I'm sure that I'm typing everything right. If I type everything right, then I can see the output. So that's all. Let's check the output whether we have this magnifying glass. We have this one. Beautiful. Now definitely we are done, and now we can move to the styling part for this actions area. So let's move to the style.css. Here is our beautiful style.css, and we need to see where we can start for these actions. So after the main content, remember we have this main content here. I didn't add any padding. I think I can copy paste this one and then give some padding for the main content as well. Now there is nothing else I want to do. I want to move to the action sort. So I want to start working with the sort, and here I want to select the select option or the select tag, and I want to give some padding for the select. So it's going to be the same one that I have used earlier, padding, that's all. Then there will be some space. As you can see, this time we have some space here. And then what else I want to do here, not anything for this one. I want to move the input field now for the action search. So let me copy paste, and then here I can say action search, and this time I want to select the input field. Padding is going to be exactly same, but I want to change the width of this input field. I want to say 15 rem. So let's look at the output, and you can see it is getting bigger now. That's better. Then I want to design the button, because right now the button is separated from this input field. So how can we bring them together? That's definitely possible. So I'm going to search action search and then just button. That's all. So from the action search D, basically we are selecting the button here. Now I want to bring them closer. So from the left of this button, I want to reduce some space, which is going to be margin left minus 0.3 rem, so that it can move to the left side, and you can see already it's moving. What else we can do? We can give some border. Let's give a quick border here. It's going to be 1 pixel solid, that's all. And let's look at this output. It's already getting better. The last thing I want to add some padding so that it looks aligned of this input field. Here I'm going to say the padding is 0.55 rem, and that's all for now. I think it's working perfectly. So we have created this action pod, and also we have designed the action pod. Now it's a good time for us to move for this products section. Alright, so we have created this action pod. Now we can start working with the products section. So if you look at the project demo, then you can understand if we can create one single product, creating others is not going to be a big deal here for us, because they have similar design, everything similar. Just the image is going to be changed, and also some of the text from these details may be going to change. But let's just focus on one single product at this point. So we can create one product and design. After creating and designing, we can just copy paste. So let's just focus on this one, what we have here. So this is a card design, you can see. Of course, we are going to create a card, something like this. Then we have an image here. Of course, I'm using article for the entire one. So I'm using article, remember, and I'm going to call a class name, let's say product. And the entire section is going to be called products. So I have a products class, and inside the products class, I have individual product. But anyway, let's just start. We'll figure out how things is going to work. So here I'm going to my index.html file, and last time I worked with this section called actions. And after this section, I'm going to create products section here. So let's say products starts here, and let's say products that ends here. That's nice. And now I can start working with the section. The section I'm going to create with a class name called products. So that's the plan. And inside these products, I'm going to create many product. So first, let's follow, just create one product. So let's follow here, and I'm going to say product. So I'm creating one article with a class name called product. So far so good. Then inside this product, if you have a look, then we have a badge. This is something we're going to do later on. Right now, just follow this one. First of all, we need an image, and then we have a div where the product body, actually we are going to say it's a product body. Inside the product body, we have h3, then we have some colorized things here. So I'm going to use span for these things, for these dots. And then for the product details, let's say, or description, I'm going to use paragraph. So let's see how they look like anyway. Let's create the HTML here. So first of all, as I said, I'm going to use image. So I'm choosing one of the image that I have inside my images folder. So let's select the images folder here. And the first one I'm going to use is going to be product1.jpg. And then as an alternative, I'm going to give some value. Definitely this is important. So I'll say product1. So I'm sure we'll be able to see the image here. And if I reload, definitely you can see the image here. Now do not worry about the size of the image. This is something we're going to take care very soon. Now after the image, as I said, there will be a div, and the div is going to be for product body. So I'm going to name it product body like this. So this is the class name I'm using. Inside the product body, first of all, we'll have an h3. So I can say h3, and then I will give a class name for this one as well. It's going to be product name, and this time I'm going to say Sony B4 mic headphone, something like this. Okay. So far so good. I'm going to save it, and let's see what is the output right now we have, and you can see it's good. Now after this heading, I have few dots here. So how can I create these dots? It's going to be very easy for us. Let's say we are going to use one paragraph. Inside paragraph, we are going to create some span, and the naming of this span is going to be dot for the first one. So all the span will have this dot class. So we have to create the dot. As you have seen, these are the dot I'm discussing here. I need to create the circle, and then I can add different color. Let's say for this one I will say green, and for this one I will say black, and at the end I will say red. Fair enough. So far so good. And after these things, I want to create some text, as you can see, and this is going to be product description surely. And at the end of the description you can see there is a link. So inside the paragraph, of course, I have to create a link. So let me create this one. After this paragraph, I'm going to create one more paragraph. This time class name will be product description. So far so good. Now, as I said, I'm going to use some lorem text here. Let's say lorem 10 maybe, and after that I will say dot dot dot, but this dot dot dot, after this dot dot dot, I need to say learn more. Okay, so inside a link I want to create the text. As you can see, learn more, this is the text I'm discussing, and if I click here then it will show the details, but right now we haven't worked with the details, but at least create the link. Okay, so how can I do it? It's going to be very simple. I need to create the A tag here, and inside the A I'm going to say product.html. This is something we have not created yet, but of course we are going to create it. Right now we have this product.html, but there is no text right now. And here I'm going to say learn more. That's all. Fair enough, and it should be visible. So if I go back, you will see this learn more. If I click, it shows I'm a product details page. Definitely there is nothing right now. And I want to give a class for this one, this link tag, because who knows, we're going to style a little bit this one later on. So I will say learn more. That's all. Now that we have this description, what else we need to do? Let's check. After the description, we need price, we need rating, and also this button. So let's create these things very quickly. So after this paragraph, I'm going to use h4 for the product price, and I'm going to give a class name product price, and I want to make sure the class name is right. Okay, and then I want to say $200, let's say 25 and 99. All right, fair enough. After this, I want to say I have one paragraph for rating. I want to display the rating, so paragraph product rating, and let's give a text like this inside the paragraph, rating 4.5 out of 5, something like this. And at the end I want to create a button. So how to create the button here? It's going to be super easy for us. We know how to do it. We have this button tag. Inside the button tag I want to show add to cart. That's all. But remember, we have a class for button, so I can reuse that. And also I want to create one more class here for the button so that I can give some more styling. Okay, now let's check the output. I'm going to check here, and you can see the output is not bad at all. And now we need to start using our CSS. For designing this product, remember that it looks like a card. So first of all, I want to make sure that this one looks like a card. And how can I do it? It's going to be very simple for us. Remember, we have this product class. Here we're going to add one more class. Let's say it's going to be card. And this is going to give us the design for card. So I'm moving to the style.css, and I know this card is going to be reusable for others page as well. So that's why I'm going to put it inside the reset code, or common code actually. And here I'm going to say .card, and then I can start designing the class. But remember, I think I missed one more thing when I created this thing for the section title. You remember? If I go back and I can show you, of course, in the sidebar, I created some heading and I gave section title, and I didn't actually use this one. So now I think it's a good time to use that section title and finish the task here for the section title. So I'm going to say section title. I just want to change the font size. So here I'm going to say font size is going to be 2 rem, and it should like better than before. That's great. Now let's move on to the card designing. And we already discussed we need some box shadow for the card designing, so that there is a shadow, and I'm going to use some variable that we already defined, and from there I'm going to use this box shadow so that there is some shadow. You already can see there is a shadow around this card. And then what we can do here, we can add some border radius thing. Of course, you know the purpose of this border radius, so that it looks like a little bit round, and I'm going to use the border radius here. And of course it looks like round now. And what else we want to do? At least I want to add some padding inside the card, so I'm going to say padding var, and going to use one of the CSS variable that we already defined. I am going to save, and you can see there is some padding right now. The last thing I want to add here is transition, because when I will hover over, I want to change the box shadow, and that's why I want to make it smooth. So let's say transition is going to be var transition. So this transition we are using from our CSS variable from the top, from here. Okay, fair enough. Now let me add the hover effect for this card. So card, and I'm going to say hover. Now what style I want to give here? I want to give something for box shadow definitely, and it's going to be 0.1 rem for x-axis, 0.2 rem for y-axis, and then for blur 0.8 rem. And then RGBA, I'm going to give some color, 205 for red, 202 for green, and 202 for blue. At the end it's going to be 1, I guess. So let's see how does it look like. Doesn't look bad, that's good. Right, so what else we want to do now? Let's move on to the actual part. We have designed the card, but they are inside the products. You remember, this is the entire section products, and inside the products we can have many products. So it's better now we start do something with this products section so that it can handle many products, just like a grid. So if you look at the demo project, you can see in the products section we have 3 cards at a time, or 3 products at a time. But when the screen size is different, of course the number of products is changing. Definitely you can see that, and this is something we have to take care. So let's just start working with this product section and divide it into 3 parts at first. So I'm going to move on to the style.css again, and where I finished last time I'm going to start from there. So I was here, right? And I'm going to start working with the products section this time. So let me select this products class, and then I'm going to say display is going to be grid here. And then I'm going to say grid template column, because I want to divide the column into 3 parts. So I will say repeat 3 times, and then I'm going to use minimum maximum function here. It's going to say minimum takes 0 and maximum takes 1 fraction from the available width. And then here I'm going to say gap, so there will be a lot of product and there should be a gap between each product. You know, as you have seen in the demo one, there are some gap here. So that's why I'm using this one. And at the end I want to add some padding inside this entire product section, so I will say 2 rem gap from top and bottom, and then 0 from left and right padding actually. So if I save it and if I go back there, now you can see it already looking better. Now what I want to do, I want to start working with other section. So let's say actually the product image, and then I'm going to do something else. If you look at the product image, you can see immediately, so by default they have white, black and white effect, and when we hover over they have the original color or the original effect. So I'm using here filter. This is something we have used earlier, so let's use that. So here I'm going to say product image. I could give a class name definitely, but anyway, let's make it responsive. At first it will take 100% from the card, and then height is going to be 15 rem for the image. I'm going to use this filter thing. I will say by default let's keep it black and white, so saturate value is 0. And then I'm going to use transition, because when I will hover over I want to do something. So let's say var is transition here. That's all. And then when we'll hover over this one we want to do something. So let's select the entire one, and let's say when we'll hover what do we want to do. And here I can say what I want to do. Basically the one thing I want to do is to change the saturate to 1, so that its original color show off here. So now by default you can see it's black and white. When I'll hover over you can see the original color here. And that's all for the image. Now we can move to the product body, you know, the entire thing inside the product body. So for the product body I want to give some padding, and I want to use flex layout so that they have good padding, and I want to do something with the flex layout. Let's do that. I think I can come back here, I can select the product body, and then I want to give some padding. So let's say padding is going to be variable padding, that's all. And then we want to use some flex layout, as I said, display flex. And when I will use display flex, you know, there will be side by side, because this is something we do not want. We want to make them column wise. So by default they are row wise, as you know, and here I'm making them column wise. Now I want to add some gap between them, so let's say gap going to be 0.5 rem. So far so good, and of course it's already looking better. Now the last thing I want to do here for this learn more link, I want to make it blue. And of course we have one class for this one, you remember, it's learn more. So I can say here color, and then let's say blue. That's all for now, and I think you got my point whatever I have done here. Now definitely there are a lot of things we can do here, but for now I want to keep it like simple so that it makes sense to you. Now that one card is nearly designed or one product is nearly designed, the next thing I want to create here is these things. But before even moving to the badge, I think it's a good time if you take care of these circle things. So I think we name a class for each circle, and it was dot. So let's start working with this dot. We want to make a circle with this dot class. So in order to create the dot, let's go to the style.css, and this is something we are going to use again and again maybe. So it's better if we put this dot related code at the top as our common code. So here I'm going to create this dot class, and here I'm going to say height. I'm going to give a height for this dot. It's going to be 2 rem, and then width is going to be 2 rem, and then we can continue. We can give some border radius so that it looks like circle. If you see right now, if I save it, let's save it, and then I'll show you how does it look like. You do not see anything at this moment. Do not worry, we're going to make it. So we'll say 50%. Here you go, and then we'll say display inline block. Definitely this is something I'm going to use, but right now you will not see it even though it's here, because there is no background color we are using here. So let me use some background color. Of course you have seen that with every one of them I'm using one color named green, black, red. Now this is something I want to create here. So green, and I will say background color green. That's all. And then definitely you can see one is here already. Now I'm going to do the same thing for others. So one is going to be green, another one is going to be red, and the last one is going to be black. That's all. Let me change the value here as well, red, and the final one is black. And this should be it for us. And now we can see the one product is nearly ready except one thing. Now we need to focus on how can we create this badge, and then we can copy paste all the product, and change their value, and we'll have our final products page. Now let's just create this type of badge in our project. It's not going to be very difficult if you understand positioning. So we'll first create the HTML part, and then we're going to design the badge with CSS. So here I am inside my index.html file, and this is the product that we created. Now inside the product I'm going to create a badge div, which is going to contain some span and text definitely, and then we have some horizontal row, and then we have one more span which is going to hold this text. So I'm going to my HTML file again. Here you can see that I have one product, and inside the product I'm going to create a div for this badge. So the name of this div is going to be badge. So that's the class name I'm going to use here. And as I said, first of all I will create one span, and here I'm going to show some text. So 5 in stock, something like this. And then I'm going to create one more span, which is going to say, let's say how many items have been sold or product have been sold. So I will say 3 sold here. And in between of these two text I need one horizontal rule. So I will create one horizontal rule. I'm going to give a design for this one. So I will say design class, and this is something I'm going to use very soon. Now that I have created the HTML part, you can see this is the HTML part, but it should look like something like this. So let's just focus on how can we make it like something like the demo project. So first of all, remember we are inside the product class. So product class is the parent for this badge, and if I want to move this one somewhere, then I have to work with this parent product. So the parent is product, and this is the child. So if you want to move the child based on the parent, you have to remember you need to use positioning relative. So the parent position should be relative, and then you can move this badge in any absolute position. So let me go back to the style.css, and last time we did some codes related or write some CSS thing for this product, and after this one learn more, I can start from here. First of all, I want to select the parent of this badge, which is the product, and the parent needs to have position relative if we want to do anything. And now we can select the badge and we can start working with the badge positioning. So this is very important for you to understand. If you want to move something, here we want to move the badge to left side, let's say. So if you want to move something, then the parent has to be relative, position of the parent should be relative, and then you can move the child wherever you want. So whatever absolute position you want to give for child, it's possible if you do it relatively to the parent. So the parent here is product, and that's why I'm saying position relative. Now I can start working with this badge. I'm going to say the background color for this badge is going to be green, and then I'm going to say position definitely going to be absolute. This is very much important because we want to change the position of this badge, and I want to say from the top it's going to be 0, and from the left it's going to be 0. And why is that? Because I want to move my badge to the top left side, as you have seen in this project, demo project. Now if I save it this much, and you'll definitely see the change. Now you see the entire thing actually goes behind of this image. Now how can I bring this one first? So this is going to be very easy if I use Z index. With the by default, you know, all product, or everything actually, not all product, all HTML element has 0 index. Now if I set 10, then definitely you will see it's getting bigger, and definitely you will see the change. You can see it's here, right? Now what else I'm going to do here, I'm going to change the color of the text. So let's say color is going to be white. Now this is good. Of course you'll be able to see the changes when I'm working with this one. You can see the color is white. Now I need to add some padding surely here. So let's add some padding, and this time padding is going to be 4 pixels from top and bottom, 8 pixels from left and right. And now it's already looking better. I want to take everything into center, so I want to place everything into center. That's why I'm going to say text align center. Now the last thing I want to add here may be border radius, so that they looks a little bit round. So I'm going to say 5 pixels, and that's all for this badge, and I think it is already looking better. Now of course I want to do something with this horizontal rule. I want to design it a little bit better than right now. And of course we have created one class for this horizontal rule, you remember. The only thing I want to do is add some margin with this horizontal rule, so the both text from the top and left, they have enough space. So this is something I can do anywhere, but I will do it in my common code parts. So after this black here, I'm going to add this design. This is the class we created earlier and we added with our horizontal rule, and now I'm going to give some margin, 0.5 rem from top and bottom, and from left and right it's going to be 0. That's all, and you can see it's already looking better. Now that we finished creating one single product, we can copy paste and we can finish this products section. Now that we have created one product, we can copy paste this product and create multiple products. So let's do that. I'm going to go to the index.html file where I have the product related code. You remember we have done everything inside this article. So this article is responsible for one product. And now what I can do, I can minimize this article code and then copy paste one more time. Of course, I'm going to minimize here again, and now you can see that we have two products. So of course, I'm going to make some changes for the second product so that you can see like the different product. If I save it right now and I reload the page, then you can see the product is here, but still it's same product, so we need to make some change here. I will say 2 in stock here, and also I would like to change the image for this product, but before even that I will say 9 sold here. And now I can say product2.jpg here, but I think I have PNG image, so that's what I'm going to use, and there I'm going to make another change. It's going to be alternative product 2, and also the title needs to be changed. So I'm going to say Apple smartwatch. That's the product title for the second product. And what are the change we need to do here? Let's see. I think the price will be changed, so price is going to be 425. 99, that's what I'm going to keep. And for the rating, I will say 4.2 out of 5. So that's all about this second product. Now let's see the changes, and you can see there are 2 products right now. So let me create one more then, and the easiest way, we'll copy paste again. So just like before, we are going to minimize this one, and then we can copy paste. And I can open this one so that I can make some changes. This time it is going to be like kind of same. I'll keep everything same here, but the product image I will change. It's going to be product3.jpg. That's the one I want to use. And here I will say Apple Smart Glass, maybe something like this. So I wanted to say glass. And then is there anything I can change? I think for the price I will make a change, 225, and the rating will be 3 point something. So these are like some dummy value we are putting, that's all. And we are done with the number 3 product, and you can see it's here. Now let me create 3 more products. So what I can do, I think I can minimize all these products, and then I'll make some changes real quick. So this is one product, and if I go at the top, there is one more product here. So we have 3 products, and I can copy paste all of them. Now we have 6 products, and I'm going to make some change one by one. So let's say for the next one, it's going to be here product 4. So we can do that. Let me do it here. This is the one we are working, and I'm going to say here, let's say 8 in stock, and then let's say 12 sold. And this time we're going to use product 4. That's the image I'm going to use. Of course, I am supposed to make some changes in alternative as well. I think I didn't do it for the other. So let me make some changes here. Good. Now for product 4, what I want to do, I want to make some changes in the, let's say, price. So that's what I should do so that I can recognize them differently. So here it's going to be 125, and the rating is going to be, let's say, 4.3 out of 5, doesn't matter. So I'm done actually with the product 4. Now I can move for product 5, which is here. This time I'm going to say 18 in stock, let's say 11 sold. Value doesn't matter here, anything, but the image needs to be changed. This time I want to use product 5. So let me say it's product 5, and we have this .jpg here. Again, here I'm going to say product 5 for the alternative, and I want to make some changes for this text. I can say it anything here. Let's say Nike watch this time. Okay, Nike watch. There you go. Everything looks beautiful. And now what I can do, I can move and a little bit down, and I can change the price. I will say 125.99. Rating is going to be 4.8. Now it's about the last one, so we have one more, and we'll make some adjustment for this one. Now what we want to do here, I think I will make some changes in the text. 1 in stock, 18 sold, product 6. So we have 6 number product here, and I'm going to say product 6 here as well. Now for the text, I'm going to say, let's say Google Nest. So let me do that, Google Nest. And the rating, let's say, or price, I will make some changes for price and rating at the end. So price is going to be 85, and the last thing I want to change is the rating. So let's say 4.5 out of 5. That's all. And I think we have created our 6 products, and you can see all these 6 products here. But for one product, the title doesn't make sense, this one, which is the 4th one. So let me change the title for the 4th product, and then we are ready to go. So let me go up. So where is the 4th product? This is 5th one, and I guess this is the 4th one. Yeah, this is the one. And I'm going to say this time here, let's say Nike shoes, so that it makes sense. Good job, and we are done. We have created 6 products. So if you look at the demo one, then you can see we have done nearly everything. Now the last thing we'll do in this index.html page is to create the pagination. So let's do that now. To create this pagination, you can see there are some buttons we need to create. So at first we are going to start creating the HTML part for this pagination, and then we'll start working with the CSS. Now this is our project. As you can see, we do not have the pagination. Let's create it. At first we are going to start with the HTML as we discussed already, and I'm going to find the products ends here. So that's where we are going to start with our pagination. Now what I want to do, actually I want to go at the top and find this product section so I can minimize. So this is the product section we have. Now I have minimized. That's good. Now from here I'm going to start the pagination. So I will say pagination starts here, and then let's say pagination ends here. But remember, where I'm creating this pagination, it's basically in the main content. Remember this. So this is our div, main content div, and we are still inside that div. We are going to create the pagination here. Now if you look at this one, as I said, we are using buttons, that's all. But before, like the starting point, you can see here we have one font awesome icon inside the button, and also in the end we have one more icon inside the button, and then we have like some common buttons. So let's do that. But remember that we need font awesome icon here. So I'm going to create the first one. I'm going to name it, let's say, the div as a pagination. You can name anything. And inside this div pagination, remember that the class I'm using, it's pagination, by the way. And here I'm going to create my first button, and I will use the class called .btn, which is our common button styling. And then for pagination, I'm going to say pagination button. So I'm using two classes here, as you can see. So one class is button, and then for pagination button I'm using another class so that I can make some different style for these type of buttons here. And now I'm going to use font awesome icon as I discussed for the first one. So it's going to be, let's say, FA less than. That's the one I want to use, FA less than sign. And you can see it's here. Now if I reload, then you'll be able to see it's already here. That's good. Now I want to do the same for the last button, so I'm going to copy paste, and this time I'm going to say FA greater than. That's all I want to say here, and I hope it's going to work. So let's give it a try, and you can see those buttons are here. Great. But in the middle of these two buttons, I'm going to create lots of other buttons like 2, 3, 4 that should say something like that here. So I'm going to say button dot again btn class, and then I will say pagination button. That's the style we want to use for all the pagination button, and let's say here 2. Okay, good. Now if I make it a little bit smaller, then probably it's better to see here. So this is 1, and I'm going to copy paste it few more times here, and let's say 3 here, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I want to say until 10. So let's go more, 9, and finally 10 is here. After 10 I want to show dot 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 maybe, so let's say dot 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 here. That means we have more pages, even though they are static, doesn't make any sense, but let's create it here. That's all. Now let's look at the pagination, exactly something we were looking for. So we have this HTML structure already, but it doesn't look like this one. So we need to use some CSS now. Now let's go to our CSS file so that we can design this pagination just like the demo project. Of course, you can see that the pagination is in the center of this page, or center of this main content, you can say. So actually center of this main content. So let's do this. Let's go to the style.css, and where our main ends, I think after the badge we can start. So before the main ends, we can start here. We can select the pagination. First of all, what I said, I want to center this pagination deep. So I have to use display flex. This is something we can use. And then we can say justify content center or align item center, those type of things here. So let's say justify content center, and then finally align item center. Now we have one existing class for centering, but that class changed based on the screen size. So when the screen size is smaller, the style for that class change. It becomes, let's say, column wise. But for our pagination, doesn't matter what the screen size, I always want it to place in one place. So that's why I'm not using that existing class. So if I save it, you will see it's here and it's already centered. Doesn't matter the screen size, it will be always in the center. But one more thing, you realize that our products is not responsive anymore. So we have to take care of that product as well, and we're going to make it, do not worry. But at first, just focus on this pagination. Now, if you look at the demo one, you can see here we have some border around the buttons. So let's create those border around the buttons here. Now we have one class called Pagination button for selecting the button, and then we can say the border width here. I'm going to say 1 pixel from the top, and then 1 pixel from the right, and 1 pixel from the bottom, and 0 pixel from the left. Now why I'm saying 0 pixel, let me show you. If I give 1 pixel, what happened. So if I save it, let me save it and let me reload. But before that, I have to apply some style. So let me do that. Otherwise you will not see the border. So let me say border style is solid. That's all. Now if you come back here, then you can see here is something like double. So from the right we said 1 pixel border. Again from the left we said 1 pixel border. So that's why this border looks bigger than the normal one, if you compare the first one and then if you compare this one. And the only reason behind this, we are saying from the right 1 pixel, again from the left 1 pixel, so we are overriding, we are actually doing it twice. So that's why we did not do this way. So we wanted to say from left 0 pixel, because you have something from the right already. Now if I save it, then everything looks better except the first one, because the first one doesn't have any border on the left hand side, and this is something we can do separately. So I can select the entire one, all the button, but I want to work with the first child actually. So that's what I'm saying here. And now this time I want to make the 1 pixel border width to the left side of the button, and rest of the things are same. So I'm going to save it, and you will see something we have found that we are actually looking for. So this is exactly same as our demo one, and we are done with this pagination. But now for the products, we have seen they are not responsive enough. So cannot we do that? Like, cannot we make it responsive? Definitely. Let's finish the responsive part for the product. And if I come back for 992 pixel, here I want to select my products and I want to make it responsive. So let's select the products. Here we have the products. But if I go at the top, I want to show you what do you have for the products by default. So let me go top here. By default, we have 3 products we are showing for each row. But when the screen size is 992 pixel or less than 992 pixel, maybe we want to show 2 products. So that's what I want to do. So let me go back and I can copy paste here. This time I'm going to say I want to repeat only 2 products for each row. Now let me make the screen size 992 pixel, and immediately you can see the change. It's now more responsive. Now this is something I can do for, let's say, more 768 pixel screen size. So let me copy paste that I have everything. I think then it will save my time. So I have copy pasted everything, and this time what I want to do, as I said, I want to do this one for 768 pixel screen size, and I do not want to do anything else actually except the products. So I'll keep the products only inside here. And this time I want to say I want to show 1 product when the screen size is 768 pixel or less than 768 pixel. So if I go back and if I resize my screen, then you can see when it is 768 pixel or less than 768 pixel, then we have 1 product only for each row. And we are done basically making responsive so far. Right, so far you have done really a great job and you have finished this index.html page with me. Now we are done with the product as we said, and when someone will click here to learn more about the product, then we want to show the product details, and that's where we can start working from now on. So we want to create the page for product details where we will show all the details about the product. So let's go to this product.html that we have. If I open it, then you can see this is the product.html, and we have something already here. As you can see, this is the navbar, and also we have the footer, so we can work inside the main. We can start working from here. Let me minimize this one so that you can see well. I can make it bigger if you want, so I think now you can see things more better. So what I'm going to do here, basically for the main, I'm going to use class, one of the class that we had already, which is flex center, because I want to show everything. I want to put everything in the center of the page. And then I want to use one of the existing class for the previous time that we used, which was main content. You remember this is something we have used earlier. Now if you want to see, I can show you. If I go all the way up, and then here you can see that we have this main content class, and this is what I'm also using here. Now I need to show a product here. That's what I want to do. So this time I'm going to create a class for the section. The name is going to be product details. This is what I'm going to name it. And also I'm going to use one more class that we earlier created, which is flex center. Now what this class do, of course you know already because I have shown you for a lot of times, but this is something we didn't create it yet, but we are going to do it very soon. But if you look at the demo, then you'll get some idea about the product details page. So on the left hand side we have this image, on the right hand side we have everything others. So we need two sides here, left and right. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide these product details into two parts. First one is going to be left, product details left, and the second one is going to be product details right. So let me do that. I'm going to create two div, product details left, and then I'm going to say, of course, not something like this because my parent class name is product details. Then I'm going to say left here, and then we have the div, and then we can say product details right here as well. So we have these two div that we are going to work. Now let me make a little bit smaller so that you can see things well. So we have product details left and product details right. Now on the left hand side we just have image. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put the image here. But before even putting the image, I want to say, let's say left side, I want to show some text so that you can see how this thing is working. And here I'm going to say right side. Now if I save it and if I show you the things that right now you can see there side by side, left side, right side, no problem. But let's say I want to put the image center of the left hand side. This is something I want to do. So I can do that because I have one class already which I'm using a lot of times I will say flex center, and this is something I will use again here for the image so that it comes to the center when I use the image. Now let me start using the image this time instead of this text. So I'm going to use my image tag here, and then of course the image I want to use, it's going to be, let's say, product one from the images folder. So let's say images, then product1.jpg, and here I can say product one. That's all. And now the image should be here. As you can see, it is here. Of course we are going to do some designing later on so that everything looks much better, but for now we have like our HTML things to work with. So we are creating the HTML part for now, and then with CSS we'll style these product details shortly. Now what other things we need for the product details, what I'm going to do, actually we have done something kind of similar in our index.html. So I'm going to copy paste few things from there. This is the product section, and I will just copy paste at least one product from here, and then we can continue, you know. So let me do that. I think I'm going to copy paste everything from here. So this is the product name. Then I have these three dots, I have the description, and until this button I'm going to copy paste everything. Definitely will make some changes, but for now let's just grab all of this thing from here and let me paste them here. That's all. Now if I load it, then you can see it has exactly the same thing that we did earlier for a single product, and we have one more time this learn more. Now this is not something we want to do because this is the details page, so there is no way we're going to use this learn more. I'm going to take this one out from here. Okay, now what are the changes I want to make in this product details part? First of all, title is good, there is nothing wrong. There will be three dots, nothing wrong. But for the description I want to add more. That's what I want to do here. So what I'm going to do, let's say I will create a strong tag here. So let's say it's a strong inside this paragraph. This is the tag I want to use. I didn't type it well, so now it's right. I will say description here this time, and then I am just creating something for just to understand whether it's a description or not. And then I can add lorem text. This time I'm going to say, let's say lorem 100, and you'll see there are 100 of text here already. And now let me go back. Sorry to like interrupt here, just give me a moment. If I come back here, you can see all the text they are here. Now do not worry about the styling, because we are going to fix that styling very soon. But for now we have some description. I think I want to make it a little bit less, so let me get rid of these things and let me keep it like this much. Okay, this is fair enough. Now I want to copy paste one more time. I want to add more text here just after this one, so I'll create one more paragraph here after this one, and this time let's say it's going to be a lorem 50 or 60 maybe, so I'll keep 60 now, and you can see it's working fine. There is nothing wrong, but I want to add one break. This is something we can do like without even adding break here, but I will just add one break. There is no problem if we do this, and you can see they are separated now. Now let's move to the other things. What are the things I want to add here? I think I want to add category, then we have price, rating, everything. I will add two more buttons. One is for add to cart. Actually, this is something we already have. Then I will add one button for back to shopping. So let me do those things. I'm here. So this is H4. I'm going to copy paste, and this time it's going to be product category. That's what I want to do. So category here. And I want to show the category here. So let's say category, then name it anything. I will say headphone. Okay. And then for the price, I will keep it exactly as it is. For the rating, maybe I can use some strong tag and I can show it like kind of bold. So let me do that. Strong. Here we have this strong tag, and inside the strong tag I will show this rating text. And now I have this button, product button. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste and going to create one more button. This time it's going to be back to shopping. So that's what I want to show here. Back to shopping. Great. Lovely. If I save it, and then you'll see everything looks perfect. Now it doesn't look like the details page, just like the demo project, because still we have not added the CSS. But we are done with the HTML part, and now we can start working with CSS. For CSS, we really do not have to do too many things. We just need to make some adjustments so that it looks like this. We have to make sure the image is taking, let's say, half of the page, and then the description part is going to take half of the page. So these are a few things we need to do. So let's go to the CSS and let's fix these things. So where we left last time, let me find out. So here after the pagination button inside the main, I'm going to do this. So let's say I will say product details start here, so that we can figure out next time. Product details starts here, and then product details ends here. There you go. We have our beautiful comments, and inside those comments we can start like working with our product details. So first of all, I want to make sure like both sides are taking equal space. So we have two sides. You remember product details left, and then we have product details right. So now we can tell them that you will take like half. So let's use flex 1. And this is something we can use flex 1. Why? Because they are already using flex layout, because we have assigned some classes. If you remember, if I go at the top, here we have product details left and also right, but they're inside flex center, which is basically using flex layout already. Now if I do something like this, then you will see they're taking half like equally. Now for the image, I want to make some adjustment here, so that's why I will select the image. So I could use like BEM architecture here, so the naming could be a little bit better. For the product details image, I can select and I can create a class. I will say product details. So the naming was something like this, details, and then I'm going to say image here. Now let's select this image with this class, product details image. So let me do that. Product details image, and I'm going to set some height and width for this one, just static value, so that it looks better. 20 rem, and width is going to be, let's say, 30 rem. There you go. If I save it, let's see how does it look like. It looks already better, kind of similar, just like this demo one. Now let's work with the product details right section. Here basically I want to add some space between everything here that you can see. They are very close. But if you look at the demo, then they have some space between all these things, category, price, and others. So let me do that. In order to do that, first of all, I need to use flex here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use display flex layout here, And then the flex direction this time is going to be column, because they should be as a column wise, not side by side. And for the gap, I think I can use 0.8 rem. Let's see how does it look like. Now it looks already better. I think it makes sense, but I will minimize the gap here. I'll say 0.6 rem. This is already better. Now we have everything that we were looking for, and there is nothing else we need to do here. Now that we are done with this beautiful one, and I think we can move for something else now. Now that we are done with this product details page, we can move to the cart page. Right now we do not have anything because we have not started yet. So let's start with this cart page. At first, let's look at the demo of this cart page. If you can see, then we have two parts here. Inside this card, we have card items. All of the items are here. And then we have on the right hand side is card payment. So we will have one div for the entire card. Inside this entire card div, we have two divs, one div for card items and one div for card payment. So let's start working with this. At first, I need to go to the card.html. So here I am, and I'm going to start with the HTML first, as I said. Now this is the main section. Inside the main section, I said, first of all, I'm going to create a div for the card. And definitely this div will use one of our existing class called flex center, so that I can center all the items inside this card. Now I said there will be two div here. On the left hand side, it's going to be card items, and on the right hand side, it's going to be card payment. So let's just create those two div now. So it's going to be card items, and then it's going to be card payments. So let's do that here. Card payment. Good job. Now we have two div. We can start working with the left hand side one, and here it is. So we are going to start working with the card items first. Now here, if you see properly, then this is the card item heading, and then we have card item here, two item, as you can see. So there are three divs here. We can create these three divs first, and then we can start adding components or items to those card items. So let's do that. Here I'm going to create a div called card items, and the first one is for heading, as I said. So let me create this div card items heading. So this is the div for this heading, and then we have two item. So we are going to say card item and card item. So that's what we are going to say. We need two more div for card item. Let me finish it real quick, and I can do it twice. So let me do it twice. You can see there are two div right now with the class called card item. And now for each of these card, I'm going to give some value right now. Let's say it's going to be item 1, and here it's going to be heading for now. Let's put some text so that we can see our things well. And here it's going to be item 2. So let's give it a try. Let's see how does it look like. Okay, they are here, nothing wrong. But one thing I want to do, as you notice, they have the card design. So card is something we have already designed, and we can use that card design now. Now if I go up, then let's scroll and let's see, do you have this card? Yes, we have this card design that we want to use. So let's start using them here. I'm going to say here card, and also card here as well. And then I want to use one more class here for the flex things. So you can see they are not like very close. They are taking space around them. So for this item, if you can think, this is one item inside this div, then we have one item, but they are taking space. So we are using flex space around here, and this is something we already created. So we have created this class, and we are using that class. That's all. Now if I save this one, before even saving this one, I need that card design for heading as well. So that's why I'm using the card here. So if you go back, and now you can see that you have that card design for each of these div, and that's what we wanted. Now let's add the items one after one. So at first we are going to look at this card items heading part. So the first one we want to work with. And here basically, if you see, we have some text. Let's say it's something inside H2, and we have some actions here which is going to be inside a div. So let me do that real quick. Here, instead of this heading, I'm going to create an h2 as I said, and this is going to be, let's say, shopping cart, some static value here, again 2 items. That's all I want to show here. And then you'll see the output, it's here. Then what else we want to do? We want to create a div for all these 3 things, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to create a div, and the name of the class name of the div is going to be card items action. And why I'm naming it like this, the card items action, because you can select all the item, you can delete, or you can shop more. So there are some actions. Of course, they are not going to work because they're just pure CSS here. We are not involving any JavaScript, definitely not. Now let me start with the first one. This is the one I want to create, checkbox, and there are some labels. So what I can do, I can create a label first. So label 4, let's say it's for selecting things, so I'll say just select, even though the naming maybe doesn't make that much sense, but do not worry, let's move on. We have this input, and then we have this checkbox, and here I can say the name is select. I want to keep it similar with the 4 value so that they are accessible, and I'm going to say same thing here, select. All right, and the last thing I want to say after this input, so that there are some text inside this level, I want to say select all items. That's all. So I think I have taken care of the first one, and if you go there you'll see it's here. Now let's create this button for delete and also button for shop more, and here you can see I'm using Font Awesome. So let me be real quick and let me create this one after this level. So I'm going to say button, and the class I'm going to use is button. Now I want to create 2 of this, so you can see we have 2 buttons here. If I make like things like this, then you can see better. Now inside the second one I'm going to say shop more, that makes sense. But inside the first one I said I'm going to use an icon for delete, so I will say fa trash, that's the one I want to use. Fa trash alternative, let's see whether we have this trash, then alternative, that's the one I want to use. But anyway, I think I have to start from like creating from scratch. So let's say FAS, then FA trash. So this is the Font Awesome icon I want to use, and it's here. So let's see the output, whether we can see it. It is here. Good. And now we have created the basic structure with HTML for the header. Let's move on to the body part, or the card item part. So if we can design one or create one, then we can copy paste the other one. Now first of all, you can see there is an input checkbox here, then we have this image, and then we have some item description, so you can say card item description here, and at the end we have some actions, so card item actions here. So let's do that. First of all, I'm going to go to the card item card here. So this is the item we want to start work with, and here we want to say card item. So let me create one div, but before even creating the div, I want to create an input type checkbox. So this time it's going to be checkbox. So that's all, checkbox, and you will see the output definitely, and you can see the output here definitely, right? Now the next thing, I want to add an image. So let me add the image. After the input I'm going to say image, and this time the source is going to be from images folder as well. I'm going to pick up the first image, product1.jpg. And here as an alternative I can say product1, that's all. But of course the image size will be bigger, so that later on we have to make some adjustment. That's why it makes sense if I add a class name here with this image, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say the class name is going to be card item image, that's all. And then we should have this image already, as you can see. What else we want to do? We want to add the description section. So it's going to be inside a div. So let me do that real quick. After this image, I'm going to create one class with a div called card item description. And there you go. We have this div with the class name called card item description. Here we need few things. First of all, I'm going to create h3 with a class called product name. So I want to show the product name. Now this is something we have already used earlier, the class name. So we can use that style here. Sony B4 headphone, I guess that's what we want to do. Good job. What else we want to do after this h3? I can copy paste. This time I'm going to use h4 to show the product price. So let's say the price here, And here this time the text will be something related to price. So let's say price is 225.99. And the last one is going to be, I think, about the shipping. So let's do that as well. So here after this H4, I think I can copy paste, and here I'm going to change something. So let's say paragraph it's going to be, and the text class name is going to be changed here. So I'll say card item, and let's say shipping. Okay, and this one, the text value will be, let's say, free shipping. Let's do that here, free shipping. Good job, and I'm done. So let's see what we have got here. Good, so we have our description. Now the last thing we want to do here with this action section, or this is a div which will be named as a card items action. So let's do that. I'm going to create one more div with the class name, as I said, card item actions. And inside this div we will have few things. Probably you notice we'll have button, and some text. That's all. So let me copy paste the button that we already created for delete. I can copy paste and I can bring that here. So let me paste it here. That's all. Now after this I have one div actually, and inside the div I have button, text, and then button. So let me do that. I'm going to create a div. You can do it many ways, but I'm going to do it this way. And here I'm going to copy paste the delete one, but this delete one is not going to work. This time I want to say FA add. I want to add button here. And then for, let's say, minus, I want to say FA sub. So FA minus, maybe, yes, FA minus, that's the one I want to use. And in between them I want to show some text. So with span I can show that text. Now let me go back and show you I have everything that I need. Now the designing is not good yet because we have not started with the designing. Now let me copy paste this one and we will be done with our second card item. So what I can do, I can minimize this card item. I have everything here. I can copy paste, and now I can start working with the second card item. Here I need to change some value, that's all. First of all, I'm going to select product 4. And then I'm going to say product 4 here. Then I'm going to change some text here. It's going to be, let's say, Nike shoes. So that's what I'm going to do, shoes. And then price will be changed. Of course there was something wrong with the first one's price. Let me check that real quick here. I wanted to use colon, and then I want to do same thing here. The price will be, let's say, 115 for this one, so 115. And then it's not going to be free shipping this time. It's going to be, there's some cost is going to be this time. So let's say shopping cost, and then I'm going to say it's going to be $2.50. That's all. And now let's see whether we have these two card items. Of course we have two card items, and there is nothing wrong, of course, about the styling. We are not ready with that styling yet. I can see for the second one I cannot even see the card delete button as well for the second one, but that's not our problem because we have not added like the CSS yet. When we'll add the CSS, everything will look much better. So now let's start with the CSS. To add styling with the card, we are going to move to the style.css file, and we can start from where we left last time. I think it should be more bottom. Let's go more bottom, and we are here after the pagination. We can start, or maybe after the product details. I can create one more comment here for card. So card starts here, and let's say card ends here. That's good. Now we have created one part. You remember we have two sections here, or two parts. From the left hand side we have these card items, and on the right hand side we have this card payment. We have already created everything for the card items on the left hand side. We have not started with the card payment, and this is something we're going to do later. So let's start with the card items first. I'm going to select this card class first, and I'm going to add some padding so that everything comes inside. So there is some space between the main page and also the card. So let's do that. Here I'm going to select this card one, and I'm going to say padding is something I want to use from my variable. So I'm going to use that variable padding, and I didn't type it right. Now it's right. Good. Now the next thing, I want to add some gap here. So I'll say 1 rem gap. So let's check this out. And of course we have some gap already and also some padding. Now what else we want to do? I want to work with this card. I want to add some margin between each card. Now these cards are related to the card. That's why I'm going to say this card. I think sometimes it's very difficult for me to pronounce. So card I want to select, and I want to say the margin bottom for this thing will be 1 rem. So there is some gap between each card, you can see already. Now the next thing I want to select here is the card items action. So this was the one for the first one. This is what I'm referring here, card items action. So let me work with this one, card items action. And here basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some margin at the top. So let's say margin top 1 rem, but I want to show you what is happening, so maybe I can bring it here so you can see well. Now when I added margin, you can see there is some gap between this H2 and also these card items. Next thing, I want to use display flex, and so that they have some space between them. So I will say display flex here, and then let's use justify content space between this time. And the last thing, I want to use align item center so that they are in the center vertically. And there you go. Now they have space and they're also in the center. It's good. We are done with this card items action. What other things we can do here? I think we can select this card items input, and we can do something here. So let me select this card item input. So how much space this one should take? Actually, I'm not talking about this one. I want to talk about this one. So this is our card item. You remember, if I go back to the card.html, you remember we have 2 items here. So this is the first item, card item. Inside the card item, we have input, we have image, we have description, and then at the end we have action. So there are 4 parts here. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Now how much space they are going to take? So I need to define for each how much space they are going to take from this one part. So from this entire one part, I want to divide everyone so that they take as much as I expecting. So here I'm going to say, first of all, for the card item input, I will say you will take, let's say, around 1%. So flex 0.1. So out of 1 you are going to take 0.1. And then for the image, let's say I have already added a class for the image, so I'll say card item image is going to, let's say, 0.2 part out of 1 part. And then for the description, I can say card item description here, the class name, I will say you will take 0.4 part out of 1. And then at the end, let's say for card items action, I want to give 2 part. So card item action will take 2 parts here. Actions actually will take 0.2. But this time I do not want to select items, I want to select card item actions. So this is the one I'm selecting, the class name. And if I save it now, you can see they're already better in many cases. But of course I need to figure out with the image size as soon as possible so that everything looks better. Now let me come back with the image one. I will say width will be, let's say, 15 rem, and height is going to be 10 rem. Let's do that, and then we hope everything will look better. And they are already looking better. Now what are the other things I want to do? I want to select that card item shipping text, and I want to make it red. So let me do it here after the description because it's already related to this one. So card item description, this is the one I'm looking for. And here I want to say from margin top, take some margin at the top, and it will be 0.5 rem, and let's make the text color as a red. And already it's working. Now I did not want it to select all the description, definitely I wanted to select only the shipping, so I did make a mistake. I wanted to select the shipping. That's what I wanted to select, and it's working fine now. Now we are done with this part, but let's figure out how to fix these action things so that they look like something like this. If I make it bigger, of course I didn't think about this one to make it more better, but you can think about this and you can fix this one so that it looks more better. But I want to do something like this. So how can we do something like this? We know that they are inside actions, so I will say flex 0. Not flex, actually I wanted to use display flex layout, and let's say display flex, then when I will say display flex, immediately it will take row wise, you know, so that it will look like something row, but I do not want it to. I want it to make it kind of direction column wise. So let's say column, and then let's say justify content is going to be center, align item is going to be center, and then I want to add some gap. So let's say the gap is going to be 1 rem here. Now let's see how does it look like. Nothing bad so far, but of course we need to work with this part, this one. Now for this div, what I'm going to do here, I think I can do it many ways, but let me check the class name before doing anything so that everything looks better. I am just thinking something is wrong because it doesn't look right for the bigger screen size, but when it is small it looks exactly the way I want it. I will allow some more space for this one. So what I can do, I can go to the CSS one. Let me be real quick here. So out of 1% we have 0.1 here, 0.2, so altogether 0.3, then 0.7 and 0.9. What about this if I give it 0.3 for this one? Okay, now it looks better actually. That's what we are supposed to do. Now it looks perfect. Good job. Now that we have designed this part, we can move to the card payment one, which is the next one. Let's create the HTML and then design the card payment as well. Now creating this payment section will be very easy. As you can see, there are not too many things here. Basically, we have this card payment class for the right hand side, and this is card payment summary. You can think about this div, and also we are using card class here. And then the next one, we have this card payment methods. Also, we are using card design here. So let's do it real quick. We can go to our card.html. Let me go there. We are here. And now we know where we have to work. So we have one div for card payment and we need to start working here. Let's start working here. First of all, as I said, there are going to be two div. One div is for card payment summary. So let me create this card payment summary div. So the div has a class called card payment summary, and then we'll use one more class called card here. Now inside here we have to say payment summary inside h2. So let me do it, and then after this one, as you can see from here, we have subtotal, then a price, shipping cost, then price, and we need to like make them such a way so that on the left hand side subtotal and on the right hand side the price. So I'm going to use them inside a div. So for each thing I'm going to create a div. So let me do it real quick. When I'm here after this one, this h2, I'm going to create a div. Here I'm going to say subtotal, and then I am going to create it like this way so that I can copy paste. Now let me copy paste, and this time I'm going to say the price. So the price is 341.80. Let's say something like this, and we are done with the first one. Now I can copy paste a few more times. This time it's going to be shipping cost. So shipping cost, and then I can say anything here. Let's say 2.50 for now. The last one is going to be for total. So let me write it down here. Total cost. Total cost is going to be, for an instance, 344.38. Good job. Now I hope we have these text, and you can see they are here already. Now we are done with this one, but we have one more button here in this payment summary. So let me add that button at the end. After this div, I'm going to say button, and the class name for this button is going to be button, and also one more class name is important because we're going to make some adjustment. So it's going to be card payment button. That's all. Inside the button I want to say pay now. That's all I need. Now let's check this out. We have everything that we need for this payment summary. Now let's go and create the payment methods div. So here I am after this div, and after this div I want to create one more div, is for card payment methods. Also I'm going to use card design here. That's why I'm using this card class. Now if you look at this one, we have text and then we have some icons here. So let me create this text inside one h2 payment methods, and then I'm going to create a div with icons. So this is the div, and I'm going to create one after one icons here. So the one I want to choose FSCC Bisa, I guess. So I need the Visa one. I think I can copy paste anyway a few times. So let me create one and then I can copy paste. So FA brands, and then FACC Visa, and let me make it 3 times bigger, so 3x. There you go. Now I should see the icon, and the icon is here. Good. Now I can copy paste this one a few more times so that we can have our others icons. And I think 3 to 5 is more than enough. So let's keep it like this way. And this time I'm going to say, instead of Visa, I'm going to say Apple Pay. And then the next one is going to be Amex. Next one is going to be, let's say, Amazon Pay. And the final one is going to be PayPal. There you go. And now we should have all of our icons. That's great. Now that we have our everything that we need for this payment summary, we can start designing for this payment summary. The payment summary, let's go to the style.css. So last time we ended coming here inside the card. We are going to select the card payment this time because this is the one we are targeting this time. And inside the card payment, first of all, what I'm going to do, actually we didn't have this card payment before, did we? So let me give it a try and let me check this one out. No, we didn't have this card payment. Good. Now we can make it, no worry. I'm just going to check one more time. We had 2 things. If I go up, inside the card we had card items, and then we have this card payment. So I think I missed that part because I want to allow them equal width. So you remember we have these 2 sections. This is called card items and this one is called card payment. So they should take equal space. That's what I want to do. So let me select the card items first here, items, and let me say it's going to take flex 1, and exactly same thing I'm going to do for the other card payment. It's going to take flex 1. Okay, so let's say it flex 1. That's all. And now they should take equal space. As you can see, they are taking equal space from this body. Now what we want to do with this card payment, let's figure out. First of all, I'm going to select the card payment summary. So you remember this is our card payment summary class, and from here I'm going to select each div, and so that they are divided into 2 parts, just like this subtotal here and then the price is here, something like this. So let me select the card summary first. So card payment, and then we have this summary, and from the summary I want to select the div, and for each div I want to use display flex so that they look like the way like space between, so they take some space between. Justify content, space between, align items, center, and the last thing I want to add some margin from the top and bottom. So margin 1 pixel, 1 rem actually, and from left and right it's going to be 0. Now let's check out. You can see it's already looking better. This is something we got if you compare with the demo project, but we need to do something with the button so that it looks like this. Now our current button look like this. We have to make the button kind of width 100%. So let me do that so that it takes 100% width. Card payment button. Here I'm going to say the width is 100%. Great. Let's check this out, and it is already looking better. Now we can move to these payment methods and start working with the payment methods. For payment methods we have 2 things. This is H2 and this is the div that we need to work with. So first let's check select the H2 and make it center, and also give some margin at the bottom. Okay, so here we are. I think I can select the card payment methods. From the card payment methods I want to select only H2 first. I want to center it, so text align center, and then I want to add some margin at the bottom, so I'll say 1 rem, and I'm good. So far it looks better. You can see there's some space already. Now let's work with this card payments methods div. So I'm going to select exactly kind of same thing, but this time I'm going to select the div, and here I'm going to use display flex. So I want to use flex layout, flex, justify content center, align item center. I want to put everything inside center, and then I will add some gap between them, let's say 1 rem. That's all, and it's already looking better. Now that we have done everything for this card, I think it's a good time for us to move from this one to something else. But if you think about the responsiveness, we need to take care of the responsiveness as well. Because when we have small screen, it's not taking the entire width probably. So we can make sure that it takes the entire width. We can do it many ways. So it's all about the card here. We can say, let's say, actually the card items and card payment, they will take 90% width. That's what we want, let's say. Because right now they are taking maybe 50% of the screen size, and that's why they are always in the center of the page and they are not using the entire width of the page. So when the screen size is 992 pixel, we can do something. And what do we want to do? Actually, we want to work with card items and card payment class, because everything here, if you see, they are inside card items, and everything here you can see they are inside card payment. So let's select these two classes and make them responsive. So this is for 992 pixel, and I'm going to select the card items, and then I'm going to also select the class called card payment. That's good. And here I can say width is 90%. That's all. And now this time it should look more better. Let me complete it and then let me show you. Now this time you can see they have more space, they have more width compared to the last time. That's good. And it looks more responsive. We are done with this card section. We are done with the card section. We can move to the next section, which is going to be the profile section. If I show you a project, then you'll understand what we need to do in the profile section. Let's go to the profile page, and you can see it's a very simple profile page. Just we have one heading here, and then we have a card, and this is something we already created, so we can use the card class that we created. And then I'm putting everything in the center, so we have one more class for putting in the center, which is flex center we created. Now look at the element that we have here. It's image tag, so you can say it's a profile image, profile name, profile email, and something, let's say profile about, and then we have some buttons related to profile. So it's going to be very simple for us to create. Let's start creating this one. So at this moment, if we click here, then it's going to take us to this I'm a profile page, which is our profile page. So let's start working with the profile one. Let me open the sidebar, and from here I'm going to select the profile.html. Let's see what we have already. So I'm going to go bottom, and here you can see we have one h2 tag. But anyway, we are going to remove this one. We are going to create a section, and this section is going to be called profile class here. And then I'm going to use flex center so that I can put everything in the center of the page. That's good. Now let's create h2 tag, and here I'm going to say user profile. That was the target, as you have seen in the demo project. So I have this user profile here, but I have few classes that I already created, so I'm going to use them for making the section title. And if I use this class, you'll see the change already. And then if I need to use text center, I can use that text center. Now if I haven't created this class, I can create that class, of course. If I go at the top, and from here, let me see whether I created this text center. So the purpose of this class is just to take the text in the center. So text center, and let's say text align center. That's all. And everything looks better, nothing wrong. Let me go back to the profile.html. Definitely we were there. Right, and here what other things we need to do? We now need to create that card, as you have seen, and then we need to put image, some of other text, and also some buttons as well. So let me do that real quick. Here I'm going to create a div with a class called card, and then also flex center. Okay, let me do it here, flex center. That's a good thing, and we are done here. Now inside this div we need to create a class for image, and this time I'm going to say profile image, and this is our image. And here I'm going to change the source first of all, so I'm going to use something from my images folder. Let me choose that images folder from here, and inside the images folder I want to select something related to profile, so I'm going to select profile one image that I have already. Okay, and then I'm going to give some value for this alternative. Here I'm going to say, let's say profile. That's all for now. Now if you see the output, then you can see the image is quite big. Do not worry, we're going to fix these things very soon. But then what else we have? After this image we have some heading. Inside the heading, I'm going to say the name of the class actually is going to be for this heading is profile name. So this is something I need. So maybe next time I'm going to change the styling of this heading. Here I'm going to give my name Anisul Islam, and I'm done. Now next thing I want to do, I want to create something for my email. So I will say profile email with a paragraph. So the class name is going to be profile email here. I'm going to give my email address. It's going to be like an invalid one, let's say, and let's say s_@gmail.com. Fine. And you can see the email address is here also. Next, what I want to do, I want to create something for about. So I will say paragraph. I can copy paste whatever I have here, and here I'm going to say profile about. Now I can put some text, and it can be anything. I love to do shopping. I love to shop different things, different types of gadgets, and I'm not worrying about this like typing here anyway. It can be type mistake or spelling mistake, doesn't matter. Then I'm going to add some lorem ipsum text. It's going to be lorem 10, and that's all. I have some text here. But at the end, as you have seen the demo one, we need some buttons. So I'm going to create a div for the button, and then I will use button tag. Okay, so I'm going to create a div for the button, and the class name is going to be for the div is profile buttons. And inside this profile buttons div, I'm going to create a button with the class called btn, which is our common class name. And here I'm going to add one more class. It's going to be profile edit button. Okay. And inside this profile edit button, I want to add a font awesome icon. So this time it's going to be, let's say, FA edit. And I think I can use the font awesome class as well. So FAR, it's going to be a regular icon. FA edit, of course, you can search in the font awesome website, and then you can find out everything and copy paste. That's all. But I'm going to make it like this way because I know the icon already. So I'm using FA2X so that it looks 2 times bigger. Now let's see the output. What we have the output. It looks better. I can copy paste and change the button here. This time it's going to be FA trash alternative. Good job. So I think we should have everything that we need. Now we can start working with CSS, and let's make these things much better. So let's go to the style.css. Here I need to find out where I finished last time so that I can start working with this profile section. So after the main section here, we have the card, and we're done with the card. I think I can start here actually inside the main. So I will say profile starts here. Okay, of course you can create different CSS file and design your thing there, but I'm just keeping everything in one file just to show you how things work. So let me first select the profile. I'm going to select the profile class, because right now in the profile class, as you can see, something we have given in the profile page. Let me take you there. You can see this is the profile class I'm targeting. Everything like row wise, I want to make them column wise, because we are using flex center, which is by default with something we created, which one by default using row direction, and we want to make it column direction. So here flex direction needs to be changed. So let's say column, so that everything looks like that we expected, at least this user profile and then this card div. Now this is something we can do for others, but let me give one gap here for this H2 and card. So I'm using 3 rem gap, and immediately you can see that gap. Good. What other things I want to do here for the profile card? So inside this profile card, we have everything like row wise. I want to make them column wise. Definitely I couldn't do that. So from the profile, I want to select the card, and here I'm going to say the flex direction is going to be column. That's all. And then the card width I will change. It's going to be 30 rem, and then of course I can give some padding. It looks like already better. You can see I'm going to give some padding here this time. This time padding is going to be from our variable, and variable padding is here. Good. Now what else I want to do here? I think the last thing I wanted to do is the gap. So I want to add some gap between all the items inside this card, because right now they are very close As you can see, the image, text, email, everything is too close here. Also the button. So I want to add some gap, and the gap is going to be 1 rem. Let's see, is this enough? This is enough to like make a difference, or make a distance here between each element. It looks already better. So what are the things we want to do? At least with the image, I want to make it small. So this is something I want to do. But for variable padding, it didn't work because our padding actually didn't like we use the way we created. And then now let's select the profile image, finish this one as quickly as possible. We can select the profile image. It's here. This is the class we have used for the profile image, and here I'm going to say width is going to be, let's say, 15 vertical width, and then border radius I want to say 50%, so that it look like kind of a circle. Here is our 50%, and then I want to give a border. This time border is going to be 1 pixel solid. There you go. Let's check the image. It's looking better. But for the buttons, actually, I do not want to show some background. As you can see, I want to make it transparent so that button background look like the card background. So it does look like our demo one. You can see the difference already. For this button, we have some styling in the background, and that's why they are not blending here well. So let's choose this button, or select this button actually. So it's going to be profile buttons. And from the profile buttons, we want to select all of our button, and here we want to say background color is going to be transparent. That's all, and basically we are done. It will look like exactly same of like our this demo one, but here exactly it doesn't look like. So definitely we did some mistake, and let me check what are those mistakes I have done. Actually, I didn't write it well, so it should be profile, and now it looks better. So we are done with the user profile. We are done with this profile section. We can start moving to the next one, which is going to be register page. So we are going to start creating the register page. If I go to the demo project, you will see what we need to do. So we need to create a heading, and then we need to create a card. So of course we have designed the card already. We have our CSS, we can use that. But inside that card, we need name input field, email input field. So these are some labels and also some input fields that we need to use. So let's start creating this one. But remember, when we'll create this register one, then login page will be much easier because we have same style, everything same, so we can copy paste. So let's start with the register one. At first, I'm going to start the creating the HTML part, and then just like before, we're going to start styling. So let's go to the register page and start creating the HTML part. So this is my register.html. I'm inside the main section, and inside the main I'm going to create a section this time, and it's going to have a class called register. That's good. Inside the register, first of all, I need that heading that I showed you like in the demo. So if I go back, this is the one I'm looking for, user registration. So I'm going to use h2, and just like before, it's going to have a class called section title, and I want to place the text in the center. So I have one class called text center, and here I'm going to say user registration. Okay, that's all. Now I'm done with the first one that I'm looking for. So you can see the user registration text is here. Now we need to create a card, and inside the card we are going to create our form, and for the form we can like create these type of things. So let me start creating the card first. We have the card design already, and we can use that card class here. This will make sure that we have a card, and inside the card I'm going to create a form. This form going to have a class called form, which is something I'm going to use later. So let me create that class called form here. That's good. Of course, it has to be inside this double quotation, the class name. And inside the form, what I'm going to do for each this label and input field, I'm going to put them inside a div. And for this label and input field, I'm going to put them inside a div. So I need a div for this every single row here. So that's what I'm going to do. This time I will create a div with a class called form control. And that's all. This is something we are going to use later on. So the class name is just we are assigning, but when we'll do design with CSS, and then we are going to use this form control for sure. But let's just create the label for name. So here it's going to be name, and I'm going to say name here, and then we need an input field. So that's what I'm going to do. We need an input field. The type is going to be text, and ID is going to be name, because I want to make it accessible. So that's why whatever I have used the for value here, it's going to be exactly same here. So they are connected together. That's what I want to do. And now here also I want to make sure it should be required, so that user should not like submit without giving the name. User should not submit the form without providing the name. That's what I want to make sure. And now autocomplete, it should be if there are some availability of name, then it should use that name. Now if I show you the output, you will see it's something like this, name and that. But I want to put them in the center. Is it possible? Of course, we have a class called Flex Center, and I can use that Flex Center class here. Now you will see everything in the center. It looks better, but do not worry if it does not look like this at this point, because we are going to deal with this thing later. So the sizing we will do later, but for now our target is to create these elements. Okay, so I'm done with one div, and it's going to be very easy for me to copy paste and create others. So this time we're going to say, let's say it's going to be for email here, email, email, and email everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to select all of them together, and I'm going to say email, and then definitely I need to make a change here as well. So let's check. We have name and email this time. Next thing, I want to have password. So let me create the password field. I can copy paste one more time, and this time it's going to be password, 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 password everywhere. So let's do it real quick. Password, and here I'm going to say password. Good job. So far we have done good job, and we have the password field as well. But the last thing we need here is about me. So let's create this about me. But remember, this should take multiple line of inputs. So it's going to be a text area here, and then at the end we'll have a button. But let's just create this one first. So I can copy paste this div, form control, and this time we're going to create the label for about. So let's say about, and then what else we want to do? We want to change the text here, about me. This is something I want to provide, and then here we are going to use text area, not this input field. So let's use text area. Name is going to be for about, ID is going to for about, and I think I should not provide any columns and rows, because this is something we will take care from our CSS. Now that's all, and this should create the text area that we are looking for. Now the last element we need is this button. So let me create this button real quick after this div, and I'm going to copy paste everything. So I need that form control one more time, and I'm going to remove everything from here. And this time what I'm going to do, I have this form control Flex Center, but I will create one more class here so that I can, use the class to give a better position for my button. So I will say form button field. This is something I'm going to use later, because as you can see, the button is only in the center. So maybe later on I need to control the position of this button, and that's why I'm assigning this class. But you will see how does it work. So let me create the button. The button is going to have a class called btn, and also then I'm going to say contact button. Now the naming of this one is not necessary that you should follow just like me. You can create anything, but I'm going to use this same style in another one, which is going to be the contact page, and that's why I'm saying contact button. You can name it anything, doesn't matter, again, as I said. But the type of this button is going to submit, because we are going to send the data from a form, so we can use this submit one. Now let's see whether we have everything. Actually, we have that everything we are looking for the HTML part, and now we can start designing this one. Let's start design this user registration form. So let me go to the style.css. After the profile, I'm going to say here register design start here. So register starts here, and then I'm going to say register ends here. But remember that this is the styling we are going to use for login later on, very soon. So this style is going to helpful for register, login, also for the contact page as well. But let's see how far we can go with this one. First of all, I'm going to select the form class that I created earlier for the registration, and here I'm going to say the flex or display is going to be, let's say, flex layout. And then I'm going to say flex direction is going to be column. Inside the form, everything will have column direction, and I want to give them 1 rem gap. So if I save it, and of course you do not see the change, but do not worry, we'll make sure these things is going to work. Before even doing anything else, I'm going to say flex 1 here as well. Now if I show you the output, probably it does not look like the way we wanted, but let's keep it going so that later on we can see the changes. Maybe it will show here. Now I want to make sure that I gave a class called form. So I want to go to the register.html and let's see the class. Okay, there you go, I made a mistake. So now it should work, and actually it is working. You can see the gap. Okay, good job. So now we can select the label and also the input field, because if you see this project, then you can see the demo one, then you can see the label is not taking the entire width here. It's taking, let's say, 0.1 out of 1 pod. If you consider this entire one as a 1, then out of that 1, this label is taking 0.1. But the input field is taking 0.9 out of 1. So let's do that. I think what we can do here, first of all, we can select the form control, because this is the div there belongs. So if I show you the register.html, let me remove all those other HTML files so that it doesn't make confusion here for us. Now if you see the register.html, you can see we have this div called form control, and inside the form control we have label and input field. So I'm using form control, and from control I want to select the label. That's all. Here I want to say your flex is going to be, so the width you will take it 0.1, and then I want to say the same thing for the input field, that you will take 0.9. So 0.9 and 0.1 together, it's going to be totally 1. But out of 1, this label is going to take 0.1, and input is going to take rest of the width. And let's check this out. You can see it's already working. That's good. That's really good. Now what are the other things we can do here? Let's be real quick. First of all, for this label, I want to say text align left. So let me do that. So they should be aligned from the left. And actually they are looking aligned. Actually this is by default, so it doesn't make sense if we really use it, but let's just keep it for now, even though we know it's not something necessary. But I want to add some padding inside this input field. It's going to be variable, and then our padding variable we are going to use here. So padding, that's all, and we are done. The last thing I want to add here is the border. So border 1 pixel, and then I will say solid. Now you can see it's looking already better. There is nothing wrong. Now what are the other things we can do? Actually we can do the same thing for the text area as well. So I can just give a comma and select the text area as well, and you can see it's looking better. But for the text area I want to do something extra, so I have to select form control again, and from there I want to select the text area. For the text area I want to say the resizing option should be none, because by default you know there is a resizing option. As you can see, I can resize. So this is something I want to end here or off here. So I'm now switching off that resizing option, and you do not see that resize option anymore. I want to keep some height, so I will say height is 12 vertical height here, and basically that's all for the text area as well. Now the last thing I want to do maybe with this form button field. So this is a div I created, if you remember. If I go back to the register, if you see the button, it should belong to a div which has a class called form button field, and this is something I'm going to select here. So let me select that one from here, form button field, and what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to give some border radius. So border radius bar, it's going to be use our border radius variable. Good job. And what are the other things we want to do? I think we want to select the button itself, and I want to give some width for that button. So it's going to be contact button. Let's say width is going to be 30%. Now let's see how does it look like. It looks already better. That's good. I hope you have seen how I'm doing the tasks. So of course you are following me here, but the size or the width of the card is not the exact thing that we are looking for. So we need to fix the width of the card here. So let me select the register card so that I can give a specific width. Here I'm going to come and I'm going to say register.card. This is the card I want to select from the register class, and I'm going to say the width is going to be 45 rem. Let's see how does it look like if I give 45 rem. It's better, but I need to place it in the center of the page, and that's why I need to select my register class. I didn't select it anywhere, so I can do it here, even doesn't matter. Let me select that register class here, and this is something we're going to use later on, so that's why it's important for you to figure out. Now here I'm going to use display flags, and then it's going to follow the flex direction column thing definitely. Then justify content should be center, and what else, align items center, and then let's see how does it look like. It's already in the center, but it should have some space between these things, so I can say here gap is going to be 3 rem. Now of course the gap is visible. Last thing I want to give maybe minimum height, so let me say the minimum height is going to be 60 vertical height, and that's all. There is nothing wrong. We have that we need everything here. Now we can move to the login page, which is going to be super easy because we have everything that we need for the login page. I've completed the registration page. It's going to be super easy, as I said earlier, to create the login page. At this moment, we do not have anything in this login page. Of course, we should not have because we have not started working with this one. So if I go to the login.html, and if I show you right now whatever we have inside the main, it's just I'm login page. So what I'm going to do from the register.html, from the main section, I am going to copy paste everything. So I'm going to copy this entire main thing and then paste it here instead of this main. So I'm going to remove this main and I'm going to paste the main section or the main tag from the registration. And now here you'll see everything same, just as register and login both looks like same, but definitely this is not what we are looking for. We need less input fields here, just email and password and also the button. So we can remove few things from here surely, but let's say I'm going to name it login. Definitely it will make sense for the login page. The class name or the section will have a class called login. And here let's say user login maybe instead of user registration. And what else we need to change? So we do not need any name, as we have seen already, only we need email and password field. And we have the email here, also we have the password, but other than that we do not need the text area, but we need the button definitely. Here we can say login maybe. Let's see what we have here. It's just same thing, so I can keep the submit, doesn't matter. And now let's check the login page. It does look better except the width. So this is something we can figure out very quickly because we have our style.css, and as I said last time, this is for register and we can use the same thing for the login. So I think I can say .login here. This should give us the thing that we are looking for. And the next thing I want to say, the login card will take width 45 rem. So let me do it, login, and then I'm going to say dot card. That's all. And this time it will look much better. And that's all. Actually, we have finished our login page. But now if you want to think about the responsiveness, then we can do it many ways. So first of all, I think I can go to the 992 pixel and let's see what I can do for the form at least. So for the form class, I want to do few things here. Let me come back and let me say form width will be 100% when the screen size is 992 pixel and the gap will be, let's say, 0 rem here. I do not want to give any gap. And for the form control, I want to say, for an instance here, the width will be 100% because by default we said 0.1. The form control, actually not for form control, it's for input field, but for the form control I want to say width is going to be 100%. And for the form control input and text area, let's see what we can say here. Form control, input, and then text area here. Okay, so for input and text area, I will say the width will be 80%. So here I'm going to say width is going to be 80%. And I think that's all. But before even moving from here, I think I will make some changes for the register card and login card, because we said for the bigger screen size the width is going to be 45 rem, but when the screen size is 992 pixel or less than that, then I want to make some changes here. And this time I will say they will take width 90%. So that's what I want to say here, 90% width they will take. And if I now move and if I make it smaller, you can see it's better. There is nothing wrong. It's working perfectly. And I think you are done with me as well. But I want to make sure one more thing. For the card payment, I think I did it right. Yeah, it looks right. So there is nothing we can do here anymore. And now that we are done with the home page, register page, login, logout, for logout we didn't need to do anything, but we are done with the card page. Also we are done with the profile. We have last thing, which is the contact page. And let's start working with the contact page now. Create and design the last page, which is this contact page. Right now I don't have anything here because I have not started working with this one, but if I show you the demo project, then you'll understand what we need to do here inside this contact page. Here's the demo project, and you can see we have one heading tag here, and then we have a div here. You can say contact container, and this div is basically divided into two parts. In one part we have this form, and this is something we can use from our register or login page. And on the right hand side we have address and map. Now here I'm using iframe to add the map. So let's see how easily we can create. At first we'll create the HTML part, and then we'll look at the designing part with CSS. Now let me go to the contact.html page. So this is the page. I need to start work with it, and here I have this main. Inside the main I'm going to create a section, and this section is going to have a class called contact section. Okay, fair enough. And inside the contact section, first of all I'll create one h2. It's going to have the section title class, and then the text will be in the center of the page. So let's say text center, and here I'm going to say contact us. Okay, fair enough. And this should create the title of this page. You can see the contact us here. And now, as I said, here entire thing will be inside a container. So I'm going to name the div with contact container class. So let me create that contact container class, contact container. That's good, and I think I have done everything right. And now here I'm also going to use one more class called flex center. This is something we already created to place the item center of the page. And now on the left hand side we are going to have one form, and this is something I think I can copy paste from my register page. And if I go up, I think no, not go on, going up here, I'm going to copy the form. So I'm going to copy from here. Let me go more down, and let me see where I can do it. So this is the form tag ends here, and I can copy it from here. Of course, if you look at this one, then we have this card. So I think it will make sense if I select the card as well. So from here, I think I can copy paste this entire thing. So let me copy and paste it here. That's good. Now if I save it and if I show you the output here, you can see the output definitely. But of course we do not need everything. We need just name, email and message. So this is something I will use, name, email and message, but I do not need this password field. So let me go back and remove this password field from here. So this is the form control for password field. I'm going to remove it. Now what other things I need to make adjustment here? I think I need to say, instead of this label about me, I'm going to say message, and I want to use the text area for message this time. So I will say message, and the same thing is going to be in few more places. So here and here it's going to be same. Good. Now let's check out. We have name, email and message. There is nothing wrong. What else we want to do here for the buttons? Is there anything else we want to do for the button? I think I will keep it same, so there is nothing wrong with that. But here I'm going to use the class called form. I think I have the class called form. Okay, there is nothing wrong then. So let's keep everything just like this. But let's say if someone gives some data here, and of course they are going to give some data here, and then when they will submit, I need to receive those data. And for this reason, of course, I have shown you already how to use forms pre. So if you have seen my HTML video already, then you know how to send the data from a form using a third-party, website called Forms Pre. So I can show you that website, Forms Pre, and this is a website you can use to send the form data to your email address. So they are going to take care of the data, and they will make sure that the data that user are going to send from here, it's going to go to your email address. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that because this is something I already talked. So right now I'll keep it just like this anyway. So I'll keep it empty. That's good. So I think we have everything for the left hand side. Now I need to think about the right hand side, what I'm going to do. So on the right hand side, as you have seen, that we have this address and form. So let me start working with that one now. So this is our form ends, and after that I'm going to create a div called contact address. So contact address, and the div will have also the class of flex space around, and this is another class that we created a long time ago. Now let me create one address tag, and inside address tag I'm going to write my address, and I think I am going to copy paste some of the address that I created earlier so that I can save my time. Here you can see H for address, P for my address, the road name and other stuff, and then I have the phone number and other stuff, maybe the postal code and those sort of things. And it should be visible. Let me check this out. It is visible here. What else we want to do? I think I can go a little bit down and I can do something here. After this BIA tag, I think I can say span tag. Inside the span tag, I want to say call. And then what I want to do, I want to use my phone number here. So A and then telephone. This is something I want to use. So I'll give my phone number here. Let's say 40 something, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to copy paste the exactly same thing as a text of this link. So here, that's all. And now let's check this out. It looks better already. What else I'm going to use? As I said, I'm going to use the map. So let me select the map. But before even doing that, I think, okay, yeah, we can go to the Google map. And then here is our Google Map website. From here, let's say I want to select my whatever, any address, doesn't matter. So this is the address I'm going to select, and then I can use the share embedded map, copy HTML, and then this is something I can paste anywhere. I'm going to do it after the address tag. It's going to be here. And then definitely there are some changes needs to be done. First of all, I'm going to make change for width and height. It does not need here, so we do not need to use this width and height. But here I'm going to use one class so that I can design the iframe or this map later on. I can give whatever width I want on other things like styling related things with this contact map class. And if we check, then I think we should have everything that we need for our contact page. But one more thing I want to do here, of course, I see this card. I think I want to go a little bit up, and I want to check why this card is showing for everything here. So I need to make a check. So okay, this is the problem. I think I'm going to move this card deep from here and also from here. Now I do not have that card deep anymore, and you can see they are side by side, but I want to use that card only for this form. So that's why it will make sense if I go to the opening form tag, and here if I use that class called card, and now we should see that card design here. Now it's time for creating or using the CSS to make it better so that it looks like something like this. Designing the contact page now. We can go to the style.css, but before even doing that, I want to remove this file from here. I want to keep the contact.html and style.css. Now if I go to the style.css and where we left last time, let's see. So here I think that was the register and login page. So after the register and login, I can start working here, contact starts, and then I can make one more comment for contact ends, and in between these comments I can start work with my contact page designing. First of all, if I go to the contact.html and go up, that you see we have this section called contact section, and I want to select this contact section and then give some style. So for now I want to give, let's say, minimum height of 52 vertical height. That's what I want to do. You can give any height, but it's my own way to do it, so that's why I'm giving minimum height 52 vertical height. And then I want to use this contact container class. This is something we have here, and I want to use it, so let me do that. Contact container, and here I'm going to say from the top, let's take 5 rem margin. So that's what I'm saying, and you can see, of course, it's just separating already. There are some distance already. And now what are the other things we can do? Actually, for the contact address, I think I can do something. So let me do that thing with contact address. If I show you the contact.html, that you know that we have one div called contact address, and inside that contact address we have everything related to this right hand side. So I will select this contact address here, contact, and then address. I want to say the flex direction should be column, because by default they are row wise, and if I save it, it should look already better. And then what are the other things we can do? I can say here gap will be 2 rem. That's good. So the gap is 2 rem now, and then I want to say flex will be 1, so the form will take 1 part and address will take 1 part out of 2. If I'm using 2, then I'm giving flex width 1 for this and flex width 1 for this, so they are going to take equal width. Okay, fair enough, nothing wrong. And then for the contact map, I want to say, let's say it's going to take width of 80%. So let me select the contact map, and let's say the width is going to be 80%. So from the available width that we have here, it should take 80%. So if I save it, and now you can see it's already looking better. Now, is there anything else we can do? I think for the contact one, it's already better, but why not some padding? So let me give some padding here. Padding is going to be use our CSS variable padding. There you go. I need to select it again. I didn't select it right last time. And is there anything else? I want to check whether it's responsive or not. So let me be real quick and let's see whether it's responsive or not. So if I make it small, now this is better, there is nothing wrong. But for the contact address, let's say the width is not enough. So I will say for 992 pixel, let me go to that 992 pixel, it's here. I want to do something, so let me go more down here. I'm going to add the contact address class, and here I'm going to say width will be 100% when the screen size is 992 pixel or less than 992 pixel, and that should be all. You can see it's looking much better, definitely. So we have made our page responsive enough. Now that we created all the pages, it's a good time for us to push all of our code to GitHub, from where we can deploy our website so easily with Netlify. Alright, we have created our beautiful e-commerce website completely. So it is now exactly same as the demo project, and now we can push all of our codes from our local computer to GitHub, and from there we are going to deploy our website to Netlify. Now I have already logged into the Netlify website, so you can register and log in for sure. And also you can see this is my GitHub account, so you need to log into your GitHub account. Now before anything else, I need to go to my terminal, and here I need to initialize the Git so that I can send all of my code from here to GitHub. So let me do it. I'm going to initialize the Git. So Git is now initialized. I can add all the changes that I made. So I have added git add dot, and then I want to give a commit message here, even though it's better like committing with small feature every time and to push and then push the code to GitHub. But we have just learned how to use HTML and CSS together. That was our main purpose. So that's why we're pushing all the code just one time, which is not something recommended, because every time you add one feature, small feature, you should push that code to your GitHub. That's how it should work. But anyway, there is nothing wrong. We have learned how to use HTML and CSS, and also we have built our beautiful e-commerce website. Now let's push the code. Now before pushing the code, we need to add a message. So I will say here e-commerce website 2023 English. That's all, because I have some videos in Bengali, so I want to make sure that it's for English. But now I'm done. What I can do, I can push all this thing to my GitHub, but before even doing that, I need a repository. So I'm going to create a repository in my GitHub. Here I'm going to name it anything. I will say e-commerce HTML CSS 23 English. Okay, I'm going to say English here. Good. Now that I have this repository, I'm going to say create repository. So we have one repository here, and we have our GitHub codes here. Everything we have initialized the Git here. So now I can make a connection with the Git to this GitHub repository. And for this reason, I need this one, git remote add origin, and then the address of this repository. I'm going to paste everything here, and it's now connected. So this Git is connected with this GitHub repository. And now I can push those changes that I have made here with this command git push u origin. And I'm going to use master here because I have not changed the branch name. And this should be all to push all the codes from our local machine to this global machine, let's say GitHub repository, GitHub account. And you can see it's done. So let me reload, and you will see all the codes are here now. This is good. Everything is here. Now the last thing I need to do is deploy this repository in Netlify. So here I am already inside the Netlify website. As you can see, I'm already logged in. I'm going to say here add new site and import an existing project, because I have the project inside GitHub. And now from GitHub I want to use this project. So now GitHub will ask for the authorization, and then it will try to look for the repository that you are looking for. So the one I want to use is e-commerce. So I'm going to search with e-commerce, and let's see. It's going to take some time, and I think we have this e-commerce project. This is the one, yeah, HTML CSS 23 English. Now I have selected it, and then I can deploy the site. It may take some time, so let's be hopeful it's going to be okay. And now it's already deployed, and it has generated a link. This is the link that I can use to check my website, and I can share this website with everyone now. Now I hope you have deployed this project. If you have deployed this project, then definitely you have this link. If you have this link, then do not forget to share this link with others. So you can copy paste this link in this video's comment section, and hopefully we'll go through each other and we'll make some comment based on your link. So thank you very much.